How's it going, everyone? This is the George here. And yes, I am back. I am back to doing streams. And this is going to be more of a chill stream that also has some announcements. Or I wouldn't say major announcements, but just like plans for the future of this channel. So, first of all, if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe or share this with someone that likes movie talk, that wants some positive movie talk and positive reviews, or some fair reviews, because not every review is going to be positive, because there's not everything's all that good. But I try to be fair to everything that I review. So if you haven't already, please subscribe. And hello, Sideways 52. So for those of you who've been wondering where I've been, I just got done with a busy summer camp season. As I said in my last stream, I was teaching storytelling this summer camp at my job, and I was teaching 9 classes from kindergarten to 5th grade. And for the most part, I had a blast with it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed hearing the stories that some of my students were telling. It also gave me an opportunity to work with past campers that I had, whether it was from after school or last summer camp. So it's always nice to do that and also work with kids I haven't worked with before. But it was a blast, and the kids enjoyed it a lot, and that's the important thing. But summer camp season is over, and I am back to making more videos. Now, I know I was still making videos while I was working, but it was mostly weekend reviews of new movies that were coming out. I reviewed Mission Impossible, Barbie, Oppenheimer, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, more recently Blue Beetle. And I also know that while I was working this summer, we did get a writer strike. Well, not a writer strike, an actor strike. The writer strike's been happening since May. And so this means we're going to get some delays. And I did hint in my last stream that I will be reviewing older movies, which will be official. Now, I've done this before on the channel, but usually when like a new movie comes out or a certain thing is happening, um, as far as what's coming up, so there haven't been really any delays since Sony delayed some of their stuff. I know Craven the Hunter and Ghostbusters 4 got delayed, but outside of that, nothing major has happened. So as long as the upcoming movies are still coming out, I will review them. Dune Part 2, The Marvels, Hunger Games, Ballad of the Songbirds, Killers of the Flower Moon, Aquaman 2, Wonka. So the movies I plan on seeing this year. If not, or even if they do come out, we also know that 2024, we're probably going to get some delays. Some of the stuff might come out in 2025, even if it's already been done filming. Because obviously the actors cannot promote their work, and that can hurt the box office. So, if in the case of certain movies do get delayed next year, such as Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, the review series that I was planning on doing, I'm still probably going to do. Now, I'm not too worried about that movie specifically. I think that movie will still come out in 2024. I was planning on reviewing the Planet of the Apes trilogy that came out in the 2010s that Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is a sequel to. As far as movie like Deadpool 3, where I was going to review the X-Men movies that I haven't reviewed yet, even if that gets delayed to 2025, I think I'm still gonna review X-Men movies, or at least some of the X-Men movies. For certain stuff, I do have plans to review this year. For example, regardless of what happens with Wonka, I do want to review both the original and the remake of Willy Wonka or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Cobra Kai, I know I never really reviewed Cobra Kai. I know the last season was supposed to come out this fall, but it looks like it's not gonna, because it's been postponed due to the writer strike. I plan on reviewing the original Karate Kid and parts 2 and 3 this fall. Reason why? I love the original Karate Kid. I also like Karate Kid Part 2, and I want to share my thoughts on those movies. And maybe I'll talk a little bit about the first few seasons of Cobra Kai. because I also want to change things up and start reviewing TV series on this channel. I also want to maybe get into some video game reviewing. Yo, what's up, Blinded? And I also plan on doing my first video game review on here. It's gonna be on an old video game. I'm not gonna say what it is yet, but it's one of my favorite video games, and it's gonna be a bit of a test run of me reviewing video games. But yeah, this is gonna be an old one that I'll be reviewing, not necessarily a new one. But yeah, I'm gonna do that later this week. And I also plan on doing more basketball content on this channel, and maybe I'll talk some basketball on here. I've been wanting to do that for a while. And maybe some other topics on this channel. Don't get me wrong, this is still gonna be a movie talk channel. But we're also gonna talk about other stuff about entertainment. What's been going on recently? Oh, what's been going on with me? As I said before, I just got done teaching storytelling this summer. Had a blast with it, and I'm getting back to on the YouTube grind. And I hope to talk about a lot of stuff, more stuff on this channel, especially with the writer and actor strike. You're going to be seeing a lot of experimenting on this channel. As I said before, I will be reviewing one of my all-time favorite video games on this channel real soon. Probably sometime this week. It could be as early as tomorrow. Because I want to start testing out reviewing other stuff. As far as any other movies that I'll be reviewing on the channel besides the Karate Kid movies and new stuff, Halloween's coming up. Spooky season's arriving. So I plan on reviewing some Halloween or horror themed movies. Which ones? I'm not going to reveal too much, although I do plan on reviewing at least one of the Scream movies. Scream 2. I already reviewed Scream and Scream 6. I honestly have no idea if I'm going to see Gran Turismo. I haven't really decided yet. See, I'm trying to debate what I want to do for $4 movie ticket day. Should I see Gran Turismo or should I see something else? I'm debating if I want to go to my Alamo Draft House Theater nearby and see if there's any classic movies playing in the theater and doing a review. Because as I said, I want to do older movie reviews. And honestly, I would like to experience some older movies in the theater. Movies that came out before I was born. I did that with Jaws last year. I saw Jaws in IMAX for $3 last year in an actual IMAX theater, and I had a blast with it. And still, it is my most watched video ever on the channel. It's got over 600 views. So I haven't really decided. Hello, Anthony Beltry. Yeah, James Hart. Oh, man, that's an interesting situation. That is just a really messy situation. Listen, James Harden. I'm not the biggest fan of James Harden. If you had seen the Aaron stream on his sports channel where me and him were talking about James Harden, I'll post a link to that for anyone that wants to check that out. But basically, I think I've said what I need to say about James Harden at that time, which is he is the worst superstar ever because he's been given everything. He's been given a lot of talent, and he has never delivered, whether it's CP3, Dwight Howard, or some of the best three-point shooters in the league. He just never gets it done. Oh, and also Westbrook. And also Westbrook actually had a pretty good season that year. So yeah, no, I'll post the link to Aaron's sports stream if anyone wants to hear more thoughts about James Harden. Yeah, no, it was $3 last year, $4 this year. I mean, either way, it's still a good deal. Awesome. Yeah, I don't know if I want to see Gran Turismo or not. Rebel Moon. Oh boy. Share some thoughts on Rebel Moon. Honestly, I think the trailer was bad? No. But it feels like I've seen this so many times before, whether it's been with Star Wars, Star Trek, or Dune. Nothing looks original with this. I mean, it probably might be darker than Star Wars because Zack Snyder does like to make darker stuff. But I'm honestly not that impressed with. I'm honestly not impressed with the trailer, and it could always be an okay movie, but I feel like I've seen it before so many times. And also, part two apparently comes out in April. Don't know how that's gonna work out. Yeah, Russell had a good season, and Kawhi will never be healthy. That's true. Kawhi, I think Kawhi Leonard. I'm not saying he's done, but I don't think he's ever gonna win another championship. I mean, look, you won two championships with two different franchises. You got two Finals MVPs. Gonna make it in the Hall of Fame, but he's never gonna be healthy in the postseason for the Clippers, in my opinion. Yeah, Russell did do very good. This was one of his better seasons in recent years. The question is like, how is it going to continue this upcoming year? I don't know. The Clippers, in my opinion, are stuck in NBA hell, and it's a shame because I thought they were going to be title contenders a few years ago, and they really haven't moved the needle. Yeah, it looks generic. That's the thing. It's like I feel like I've seen this story before with what they're trying to do, which is weird because one thing I give Zach, I'll say about Zack Snyder, and I'm not a Zack Snyder hater, is that Zack Snyder's DC movies, at least they try to feel like something different from like what we typically see from cookie cutter superhero movies. And yeah, it didn't exactly work all that well. But I'm looking at this Rebel Moon trailer, I'm like, it doesn't look bad, but it just looks like something that I've seen before. And then I think the thing is, it does look bland. And I don't even know if I would see it in theaters. If it were to come out in any of the theaters that were by me. Because it might come out in some theaters. Um, I would have to see what the word of mouth is and if it's worth seeing in theaters. For all we know, it could be the only thing that comes out in theaters in December. Who knows? Wonka and Aquaman could get delayed because of all these strikes. Who the hell knows? Yeah, part two. I feel like part two is coming out pretty quickly. It does. They don't really get compared to most sequels. Yeah, I'm not saying I'm not excited for Rebel Moon. I just don't really know what we're gonna get from this. I mean, it looks like it could be better than Army of the Dead. Army of the Dead, in my opinion, is one of the most overrated Zack Snyder movies of all time. I don't know how this has gotten some of the better reviews of any Zack Snyder movie. This is nowhere near as this is not better than any of his DC projects, including BVS. This is not better than 300. I don't get what they were thinking with Army of the Dead. Oh, yeah, no, they're gonna be in the Hall of Fame, that's for sure. Yeah, I don't know much about the Fallout series. Hopefully that's good as well. Oh, nice. Yeah, I don't know much about the Fallout series that's being played. Maybe I should look into that. Oh, because it's on Amazon Prime. I usually don't watch Amazon Prime. Wait, what? Did you see the studio's counter proposal to the WGA suggesting they may want writers to rewrite AI created scripts in order for them to be eligible for copyright protection? I mean, let me look into that. I did not hear about this. This is a very fine article. Okay, I think I found a deadline article that might explain what's going on. Okay, on a day of national solidarity for the Writers Guild and the Actors Union, the AMPTP tonight suddenly released details of what it calls a comprehensive package to address scribes' concerns. Almost 2 weeks old, the August 11th tabloid proposal offers details on residuals, writer's room, and perhaps most strikingly, a new attitude towards transparency and metrics from the streamers. In terms of cold hard cash, the AMPTP is examining that this is an offer that represents the highest wage increase for writers in 35 years. And this evening's unexpected release by the AMPTP falls a mean that just wrapped tonight between WGA leadership, AMPTP leadership, and several studio CEOs. We hear it was an opportunity for the CEOs to directly tell the WGA leadership how they felt they were putting their best foot forward with their latest proposal to end the strike. And among those speaking were Netflix co-CEO Ted Sarandos, Disney boss Bob Iger, Warner Bros. Discovery chief David Zaslav, as well as Universal chairman Film Entertainment Group Donna Langley. Source tells us, and we hear the two sides will meet again. Oh, it's on discussing film. Oh wait, that was 2 minutes ago. Let's see. In the meantime, a potential sea change of sorts seems to be occurring when it comes to digital metrics. So the studios and streamers are offering the WGA increased data transparency, which will be comprised of viewership data in the form of quarterly confidential reports provided to the guild. And these will include total SVOD view hours per title. As in any final deal, the devil will be in the details, but right now it looks like the AMPTP will at least blinked a bit on what was such a major obstacle to a new contract. Is there anything on the AI stuff? I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just trying to look and see. Okay, so here's some stuff on the AI. So landmark protections for the writers surrounding the use of generative artificial intelligence. GAI. Written material produced by GAI will not be considered literacy material. A writer will not be disadvantaged if any part of the script is based on GAI produced material, so that the writer's compensation, credit, and separate rights will not be affected by the use of GAI produced material. Hmm. I'm I'm iffy. Yeah, studios are never gonna give up. Yeah, I actually heard about that right before I started streaming. I think I saw it on Threads. But by the way, if you haven't already, follow me on Threads as well. Hopefully, the desktop version of it's going to be coming out soon. So hopefully it does, because Twitter sucks and Threads needs to get some DMs in there. But yeah, curious what that post credit scene is going to be. Of course. Okay, more stuff on the AI. Artificial intelligence protections. The company's proposed landmark protections for writers surrounding the use to generate artificial intelligence. The companies confirmed that because GAI is not a person, it is not a writer or professional writer as defined as MBA, and therefore written material produced by GAI will not be considered literacy material under this or any part MBA. The proposal provides important safeguards to prevent writers from being disadvantaged if any part of the script is based on GAI produced material, so that the writer's compensation, credit, and separated rights will not be affected by the use of GAI produced material. Should a company furnish a writer with written material produced by GAI, which has not been previously published or exploited, the companies propose, let's see what the companies propose. GAI produced material is not considered assigned material when determining the writer's compensation. For example, if the company gives a writer a GAI produced screenplay and asks the writer to rewrite it, the writer will receive the fee for a screenplay with no assigned material and not a rewrite. Or if the company gives a writer a GAI produced story as the basis for a teleplay, the writer will see the story and teleplay rate. Okay, the GAI produced written material will not be considered source material for purposes of determining the writer's credit. The GAI produced written material will not be the basis for disqualifying a writer from eligibility for separate rights. The companies will disclose to that writer that the material was written by GAI. The companies also agreed to the WGA's proposal that a writer may not be required to use GAI in order to write literacy material. It is worth noting that with this proposal, the companies are now conferring greater protections on WGA members with regards to GAI generated material than writers now possess if the studios were to give a writer script that the studio acquired from a UK writer now working under the MBA and ask the writer to use it as the basis for writing a screenplay or teleplay. It's like I see that they're trying to that the progress is trying to be made, but I just don't see progress being made. It's like we are at the stage where at least we're having more meetings, which to me that's a positive if they're giving out more offers now. The thing is, I feel this has been over 100 days, and the good news is, if there is one good thing, I think we are out of the get worse before it gets better stage of the writer strike. It's the actor strike that's still in the gets worse before it gets better stage. Yeah, the thing is, it feels like they're offering something that if they spin it in a certain way, it could sound like it's not hurting the writers, but in reality, this doesn't sound. It still doesn't sound fair to the writers. Look, we can be honest. Some of the movies and shows today don't always have the best writing, particularly when it comes to superhero or franchise stuff like Star Wars. Sometimes the writing's not always the best. Having said that, having said that, there are still a lot of great writers out there. There are still a lot of good stories out there. We got a lot of great movies this year, despite some of the not so good ones. And part of that is because those stories were great. And the thing is, yeah, AI makes bad dialogue. technology, the thing is, and this is something that I just noticed in general, not just with AI. Over relying on technology has consequences. First of all, it makes us feel lazy in a way. The other thing is AI does not have the imagination that a human being does. Now, take it from me, someone who taught a storytelling class at his summer camp, who encouraged kids from kindergarten to fifth grade to create their own stories. Now, some of the ideas, as bonkers as they were entertaining, they were imaginative, they're funny. Some kids had certain themes that they were interjecting in their stories. Now, some people, they had an obsession. They loved Godzilla. They found a theme to put Godzilla in, and there were some good ideas with that theme. Sometimes they had a theme involving a passion that they have, whether it be Dragon Ball Z or other stuff. AI cannot top the imagination of any human being. AI does not have, I is not a diehard fan of a comic book like some people who write superhero movies or superhero TV shows are. See, yeah, I think the thing is, it's like, I think hopefully, we're heading in that direction with negotiations, but it still isn't quite there yet. In reality, I just don't trust AI writing because AI does not have the imagination that we have. It wasn't AI that wrote Harry Potter before Harry Potter became a movie and that screenplay was written by someone else. AI did not come up with Spider-Man. I know other people have written Spider-Man in TV and movies. It wasn't Stan Lee. Stan Lee created Spider-Man. But still, even before some of these things became movies, they were created by human beings. Yeah, in the future, once you can. But the thing is, we're not at that point yet. Sorry. We're not at that point where AI can do it by itself. Exactly. The thing is that AI still doesn't have, in my opinion, I don't think it has the knowledge on a lot of this stuff. Like, I don't trust AI to write a Spider-Man story, because what if AI writes a story about an actual Spider-Man? Have you guys ever? I don't know if anyone ever heard that story of when they were first planning to write a Spider-Man movie in like the late 70s or early 80s. They didn't know it was based off a superhero. They thought it was like a horror character, like an actual person that became a Spider-Man, like a human spider. Like, imagine AI. You ask AI to write about Spider-Man, and it's giving you a story about an actual Spider-Man. That's a good point. Death scenes. This is weird to say. Death scenes are important in some movies. I don't think AI would not understand how the deaths of certain characters or the emotions of characters and how they should be written. The thing is, the studios have gotten really arrogant and cocky. Oh my, I haven't even seen Spider-Man Lotus. I have not seen it. I should look this up. I think someone said Spider-Man Lotus was taken off a letterbox. I should actually look that up right now. For all of you who don't know, Spider-Man Lotus is the controversial fan film where I think the guy that played Spider-Man, I don't know his name, But apparently, the actor, I think it was the actor that played Spider Man, said some racist stuff. And apparently, the actor who plays Green Goblin has been accused of some very inappropriate behavior. It's a really controversial thing. And the thing is, Spider Man Lotus looks like a melodrama. Yeah, no, it's not on Letterbox. Oh, that movie was getting torn to shreds on Letterbox. Yeah, no, I ain't gonna waste my time on it. First of all, there are so many other Spider-Man movies out there. It's like, why do I need to watch a boring fan film when I can watch any of the Raimi movies, any of the Amazing Spider-Man movies, any of the MCU Spider-Man movies, and the Spider-Verse movies? But I'm not gonna waste my time on that. First of all, there's just so much drama surrounding that movie. And it just didn't look appealing to me. I saw a trailer for it. And I was like, why does Spider-Man feel like a CW drama when Spider-Man isn't a CW drama? Although I can guarantee if CW had the rights to make a Spider-Man show, they would make Spider-Man a CW drama show. That I can almost guarantee. Never gonna happen. But in an alternate universe somewhere in the scope of the multiverse, Warner Media or CW had the rights to Spider-Man and probably made it into a CW drama on the CW network. But yeah, no, Spider-Man Lotus, that's just a mess of a movie just in general. You know what? They should make a movie based on the controversy of that. That I would like to see. There's a lot of things you can make a movie about on the internet. I don't know if I want to get into the FouseyTube debacle, but oh my goodness. Well, before I even mention anything about it, oh wow. Low key massage. Yo, wow. What a way to write Peter Parker. But I don't want to spend but by the way, I didn't want to spend too much time on what I just brought up, but quick question. I have a quick question. Is the symbiote in this because this makes no sense if there's no symbiote? I'm not trying to excuse it, but I'm because there's no excuse for it. But I'm just saying, is there even a symbiote plot line to change Peter Parker's attitude around like this? Because this makes no sense. They don't. What this tells me is the people that wrote Spider-Man Lotus do not understand Spider-Man or Peter Parker. And MJ, oh my goodness, like seriously, she wants to be his fiance after he puts her through that. I mean, if you know the backstory of Mary Jane, I can't see Mary Jane, MJ accepting that. Okay, so basically, Peter Parker's been 100% rewritten to be this asshole that is out of character. Good work, guys. Good work. That really makes things better. Would anyone want? Well, here's the thing. Would anyone want to see a sequel to this? Would anyone really want to see a sequel to a boring melodrama fan film? I don't think so. I wouldn't. I didn't even see the movie, and I can tell you right now, I wouldn't want to. What has been any articles written about Spider-Man Lotus? Oh my goodness. It's got an IMDb. Oh, I'm gonna get into that, but first I'm gonna share the IMDb score for Spider-Man Lotus before I get into FouseyTube. So right now, based on 1.6K review score, 3.6 out of 10. Parker, who is struggling to recover from the loss of Gwen Stacy and contemplating hanging up the suit for good until he receives a letter from a terminally ill child requesting that Spider-Man pay a visit before he passes away. Oh my goodness. I cast. Yeah, I mean, I get it's a fan film, but polish your skills up before you do anything else. That's all I can say. Okay, so let's get into FouseyTube. Yeah, no, I saw some people were actually acting like this was better than any MCU movie. I mean, look, the MCU Spider-Man's not perfect, but it's fun, more fun to watch. Feels more like Spider-Man than the melodrama that this turned out to be. Okay, so time to talk about FouseyTube. So FouseyTube's had quite a few interesting weeks. This is the and look, we all know what happened 5 years ago on July 15th. FouseyTube had this big event, Hate Dies, Love Arrives. He had like the sold out stadium, and he said people like Drake were gonna show up. He was like telling people Drake was gonna be there, all these celebrities. But he had people like Lip Poppy performing, and all the YouTubers, all the big name YouTubers were there. I'm 22 before he showed his sus behavior was there. FaZe Rug was there. Sam Pepper was there. It was like a time. It was like 2018. That was quite a time for YouTube celebrities. But then the event got canceled. Like someone was performing. I forget who was performing. Halfway through their performance, a bomb threat got announced, and it was right before Fousey showed up. Keemstar called Fousey, and Fousey was pulling in. But it was like after the bomb threat, like people were saying, maybe it was to get people out of the stadium to get Drake in as a big surprise. People were actually convinced Drake was going to show up. FouseyTube was on top of an Uber car. He paid the Uber driver $50,000, I think, to stand on top of his car. And he was saying Drake was gonna happen, and like he's got all this news coverage. Yo, yeah, I know that whole thing was insane. Yeah, Blind, I'm not gonna pull up your comment, but you know what? Yeah, no, I'm not even gonna get into him anymore because the things that he has said, the things that he has done is just bizarre. But back to FouseyTube. Basically, FouseyTube was on top of the Uber driver's car, releasing his song, which was a diss track on Rice Gum. But he was saying like, there was a meaning to it, and it's like if you're gonna have an event about hate dies, love arrives, would you really promote a diss track? Would you really sing your diss track? He's singing on top of the Uber driver's car, and then he's freaking out on Keemstar. At first, he's like saying he loves Keemstar and how like God brought him and Keemstar together to change the world. And then he's saying like how Keemstar pushed him into almost committing suicide. And then he's getting into the story about how he met Drake. Um, so then he goes on that YouTuber with 22 in his name's show, and he's talking about how he met Drake when in reality, all he did was just stare at Drake. You guys ever see that old movie, The King of Comedy, where Rupert Pumpkin, I think that was the comedian's name, that was following Jerry in The King of Comedy. He was really obsessed. He thought he was talking to Jerry. And then he kidnaps Jerry. He's stalking Jerry. He kidnaps him, and then he goes on Jerry's show. King of Comedy is a very good Martin Scorsese movie. Go check it out, by the way. But yeah, basically that's kind of what it was with FouseyTube and Drake. He was like stalking Drake. You know, he's name dropping all these people that's in this club that he's in when he's stalking Drake. He drops Joel Embiid from the Philadelphia 76ers. Ludacris, he's name dropping all these famous people. No, then he's like yelling at Sam Pepper on the No Jumper podcast after FouseyTube leaves. And Ice Poseidon's just sitting there and just looking so bizarre. Yeah, no, these people need help. And FouseyTube dropped off for a while and it looked like things were calm for 5 years. It looked like things had calmed down. Keemstar and FouseyTube had this nice friendship that was going on. FouseyTube was more open about his mental problems. But then lately, last couple of weeks have just been so weird. Apparently, there was an incident with. I don't want to get into it because it's just so bizarre, and I feel bad for this poor woman. But apparently, there was an incident with this woman that like Drama Alert was covering, that all the people were covering, and FouseyTube. There was that Twitter space where FouseyTube Fousey was yelling at Keemstar in a Twitter space, and he was yelling so aggressively, and it got deleted. But Fousey made a video of him yelling at Keemstar through the phone, and he's like red hot. And then they're talking about this thing, Happy Punch, that him and Keemstar put together, and how like he lost his part of Happy Punch, but Keemstar basically pointed out that FouseyTube wasn't putting any work into Happy Punch. Which makes sense, and I can see FouseyTube doing that. And it seems like things were starting to calm down again, but then Fousey goes on a rampage. He's flipping out on people in public, yelling at people. He has this obsession with talking about money. Then he attacks Jack Daugherty. I think it was like Jack Daugherty's house. And look, I know Jack Daugherty can be a little shit himself. I mean, he's made some dumb videos. But it's like you're attacking a way younger YouTuber than you are, man. And then I think he attacked another YouTuber. I think Neon. The incident. Yeah, if you're talking about the incident with the woman, yeah, that was definitely sick. Because apparently, like, I don't want to get into it because it just makes me feel uncomfortable. But it's just like apparently like something happened to her in her past, and he's taking advantage. And it's so bizarre, the whole thing. But yeah, FouseyTube, he's like yelling at people in public. If you follow FouseyTube on Instagram, he's making these videos. He's like sitting on top of his counter, talking about how he's exposing people, and he's like talking about money again. But even like when July 15th happened, he was talking about money. He's got this weird obsession with money. And again, then last night, as I said, he's attacking Neon. He's attacking Jack Daugherty. He's attacking all these younger YouTubers. It's like this is not exposing. This is assault that you're committing right now. And then he's like calling someone, threatening them. And then he gets arrested, but it turns out, as Sideways 52 says, he's been taken to a mental hospital for evaluation. And look, I don't know the full details. I'm not going to act like I know the full details. I'm just talking about what I've seen, what I have heard. I do not know FouseyTube. I am only a 130 subscriber channel. I have never met FouseyTube. He don't know me. I don't know him. I don't know Keemstar. All I know is this is what I know. I was a fan of FouseyTube when FouseyTube was first doing prank videos in like the early 2010s, mid 2010s, that 2013 to 2015 period. I discovered him around the time that I was getting done with high school. I was going into college that time period of like 2013, 2015, where you're at the second half of high school and you're getting ready for college. And I remember like the weeks before I began college, I was watching FouseyTube videos because I was nervous. I'm going to a different college in a different state than I went to middle and high school. And I was watching his prank videos, and his prank videos brought me a lot of joy and comfort. And now just to see what has happened to him just has literally just gone overboard. And I know my friend Isaac, I did a video on this. Fousey, he did the video. I was watching part of the video before I did the stream. On his account Dundo. If you want to hear Isaac's thoughts on it, I will put it in the chat. I'm gonna help promote my friend here, even though he doesn't think New York is real. But it's like before I was watching this, he was basically saying all the right stuff. So this is his video for anyone that wants to check it out. And yes, I did see the clips in the motel. The way he's talking to these police officers, and he's like yelling for his security, and he's trying to play the race card. Because because I know he's part Palestinian. I know he's Arab and all that, but it's like he's playing that card, and it's like, dude, that don't mean nothing. You're assaulting other people. You're yelling at people in public, and you're becoming a danger to not just the people around you, to other YouTubers. You're becoming a danger to yourself. See, I should have suspected something because I remember months ago I saw on Twitter Keemstar was asking, can someone check on FouseyTube? Because apparently on Discord, Fousey was saying some stuff that was hinting at suicide. Yeah, he keeps saying like he's got all this money. They say he's broke. Apparently, he flipped down on a waitress that accidentally poured water or something on his laptop. Yeah, he's trying to say he's reformed. And look, I'll be honest. I was a sucker. I thought FouseyTube was reformed. I thought that FouseyTube was like, I legitimately thought FouseyTube had changed. I thought he had learned his lesson from July 15th, from the fake prank. I thought he had learned his lesson because he was being open about what he was dealing with. But still, it's like, how long is he going to be in this mental hospital? Is this really going to help FouseyTube? Is he going to even want help? And the thing is, the FouseyTube scenario that we are witnessing, it's just a reminder of what some people probably were thinking in 2018, but didn't want to say it out loud. Let's just flat out say it. FouseyTube should not be on YouTube anymore. He should not be online anymore. He should not be on Twitch because apparently he was doing 24/7 streams on Twitch. He should not be online. He is the perfect example of being someone who is terminally online. And look, I'm not going to bring up individuals in the Movie Talk community. I know there's been accusations thrown at people in Movie Talk that they are terminally online, that they spend all their time online. You want to look at someone who's terminally online, it's FouseyTube. And apparently, for that guy who hosts the No Jumper podcast, who has 22 in his name, I'm not going to mention his name, FouseyTube's trying to make claim that he gave that person fame. So FouseyTube's ego is also big, where he thinks like he's the reason why all these YouTubers are popular or not. And whether or not we like her just like these YouTubers, because look, we don't like a lot of some of these big name guys. Not a lot of people like Keemstar. Not a lot of people like that guy from No Jumper. A lot of people don't like Jack Daughtery. That's still. He basically said in that Twitter space, he said some stuff to Keemstar that really was mind-boggling, especially when Keemstar had extended friendship to you after July 18th or 15th, sorry, and had tried being good to you, that tried helping you. I'm not trying to defend Keemstar, but it's like you're saying stuff about Keemstar's girlfriend, who supposedly you've met and got along with. Then you're bringing up the Etika thing from 2019. I think it was 2019, and saying Keemstar is to blame for Etika's death. And yeah, that the threat that he made on the phone, that is bizarre and scary. And it shows that he's becoming mentally unstable. And then, oh my goodness, how many girlfriends does this guy go through? Because he obviously wasn't dating the girlfriend that he had for July 15th. Yeah, no, that's another thing. It's like this man is a danger to himself. He is a danger to himself. He is a danger to other YouTubers. And I'm not saying I want FouseyTube in jail, but he needs to stay off YouTube. I think he needs to find a regular job at this point. I get it. You wanted to go to school for acting. You wanted to be famous. You wanted to be an entertainer. You've been in Tyler Perry movies. But good Lord, step away. Step away, please. It ain't worth it. Not everyone's meant to be a YouTube celebrity. A lot of people who are YouTube celebrities should not be YouTube celebrities. I'm sorry. This is just a big old mess that he has gotten himself into. He got no one to blame but himself. And look, I get it. You know what? The viewers are to blame because I think the viewers have enabled him. And there's some people that are encouraging FouseyTube. They're saying, keep going, Fousey. People were enabling this guy on July 15th. You saw the video when, he's on top of the car screaming at Keemstar. And he's like, promoting his Four Ghosts diss track on Rice Gum. All the people in the crowd are cheering. They're going, Fousey, Fousey, Fousey. And he's just like relishing in the fame as helicopters are looking down, as camera crews, like they're encouraging him to like basically yell at Keemstar on top of the car. You boosted this man's ego. Yeah, he is sick. You're boosting a very unwell individual. Good. I was joking around. I was talking to a friend. I was kind of joking around saying, if I talk about FouseyTube on this channel, imagine FouseyTube just appeared in my chat and it's like wants to debate me. I would flat out say this to him in a calm way. I would say to him, Fousey, you were on top of the world. You were once hilarious. But this obsession with money and fame needs to calm down. Chill out. Take some steps back. I know, Blinded, I know you had a comment about, Kane Comedy is based on FouseyTube's life. Martin Scorsese said in an interview, you know what? Maybe Scorsese's next project after Killers of the Flower Moon should be about, like, people who are obsessed with internet personalities. Yeah, it is crazy. And the thing is, I know not everyone was enabling. There were some people that were trying to stop him, but ultimately the bad influences just dominate. Oh, it's just a real big mess. I don't know what else to say other than he needs to back off. And look, you know what? This has not been a good year for big name YouTubers in general. The no jumper guy obviously did some stuff I'm not gonna say. But oh my goodness, he's been and then this whole FouseyTube saga for the last couple weeks. The thing is, I discovered this whole thing when I saw Keemstar on Twitter going at FouseyTube, and I was like, "Wait, why is he going after FouseyTube? I thought him and FouseyTube had become friends." And then I see the Twitter space, and Keemstar and FouseyTube's like screaming. He's like, "Yeah, saying like you're not a good person." Like, holy crap! He's like screaming on top of his lungs. And I saw the video he made of him yelling, "Yo, Blinded, you're going into film school, man. That's an idea for you to do as a film one of these days. You should get the rights to making a movie called July 15th. Yeah, no, it's been a crazy year for YouTubers. And it's like, but then he shamed Keemstar because Keemstar is not a religious person. It's like, look, I'll be honest, I'm a Catholic. But good Lord, I ain't got a problem with people who aren't religious. I ain't got a problem with people who are a different religion from me. But Fousey thinking he's high and mighty because he believes in God, while Keemstar probably doesn't. That's elitism right there. He is showing that he is his elitism right there. It's a crazy clip. By the way, if they ever make a movie about FouseyTube, perhaps they should cast Henry Cavill as Keemstar. I'm just saying. Give Henry Cavill the beard, and we can make a movie right there. But good Lord. Like, no. Blinded, I don't know if you're busy, but like you're more than welcome to join it. If not, that's fine. But yeah, no, like this whole scenario has just been bizarre. And yeah, do something like that. Yo, listen, do it for your film school. Listen, all I can say is if they ever do biopic about YouTubers, Kevin Smith needs to play Matt Jarbo. I tell this to Aaron World Order all the time. If we ever make a movie about YouTubers, Kevin Smith needs to play Matt Jarbo. Literally, I was telling someone that I know this YouTuber. He looks like the guy that stole Woody from Toy Story 2, and it's like, yeah, that's Matt Jarbo. I was like, yeah, like it looks like Matt Jarbo. But good Lord, FouseyTube. I mean, the thing is, like, there's a lot of other things that's gonna happen with FouseyTube. We're probably gonna get more information. But it's sad. He burned the bridges with the positive aspects in his life, the good influences, and let the bad influences dominate. Oh yeah, and by the way, one of the Paul brothers, I don't know if it was Jake or it was Logan Paul. Yo, he says he like skipped out on Oppenheimer halfway through the movie. Yo, why should I get my movie opinions from a guy that basically laughed about people committing suicide in the suicide forest? Yo, you want to talk about not good people? That's not a good thing a person does. That's sick. Shame on our culture for empowering these idiots on YouTube. And you know what? I'm going to be honest. I'm complicit in that because I was a FouseyTube fan. I used to watch FouseyTube. I think that was one of the first channels I subscribed to before I ever had a channel. When I was starting to subscribe to channels. So I'm complicit in this. But you know what a million others are? We have empowered morons on the internet. We have empowered them. What's up, Blinded?
What's up? What's up? I didn't realize you sent the link, but I wanted to give you some time to talk, obviously.
Oh, it's all good. But like literally, I feel like we have empowered idiots on the internet.
Yes.
I know this is a chill stream, but you know what? Like I can't help it.
It's man, I'm not sure. Did you see all the clips,
I
or did you
saw
just
the
get a summary?
so I saw the clip of him yelling on the phone. He mentioned something about stabbing someone.
Yeah, that was, like I said, that was chilling. I was like, yeah, there's something wrong with that guy.
Like here's the thing. I went to the beach today, and like I come home and I find out, oh, more Fuzi drama. I'm like, what did he do now? Then I hear like he's going to a mental hospital. I saw him attack
Yeah,
Jack Daugherty, and look, Jack Daugherty's a little shit. I said that before, but good lord, that's not an excuse to basically pour water on someone and attack them in their own house.
I didn't see that part. I'm not too familiar with Jack Daugherty, so
You know, I think I share. Yeah, no, I shared it in the DM group. It was what. So like I shared it in the one you, me, and Aaron are in. Yeah,
okay,
so like if you want to watch it later. But basically, he poured water on Jack Daugherty and then like attacked him in his own house. And I think I don't know,
right.
like, and this is like after I hear about him attacking Neon, this Neon guy.
Mm,
But it's like the man's been going on a rampage. He's like yelling at people in public.
Jeez, yeah, I just saw the like not the whole thing, but like the stream parts, those clips, because that was like it was almost like an hour of just crazy. Like he broke up with his girlfriend, try to get with some other girl he just met. Then he fired his entire staff. I don't know if he's like running some company that's helping him with the streams, but he fired all of them. Then he was on the 911 operator talking up like screaming, telling them like, "Oh, if you don't come now, I'm gonna do something." And then he starts like pretending that someone's
Oh
holding a
yeah,
gun to
yes,
his head.
I
It
almost
it
forgot to say
was
that part.
insane. Yeah, it was insane. It was like, what?
Oh my gosh! And then he's like saying calling his security to attack the cops. They're handcuffing him.
Right.
He's playing the race card.
Yeah, yeah. And it's surprising too. Like the cops were actually pretty calm. They're like, okay, what's going on? And he's just like cussing them off. And it was like, holy, this is insane. Like, and the thing is too, he was doing it. He was like, oh, I'm trying to get the cops here and stuff because they wasn't some dude who was the dude who was trying to like show up to his house.
Oh, I have no idea. But like
Yeah, some guy was trying to show up to his house.
but like
What?
some person was like threatening to come like while he was on the phone with him.
Yes. Yeah, some guy, the guy that was on the phone, he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna show up to your house and like I'm gonna tell your parents what you're doing." And then Fuzi ended up doxing that guy. He was like, "You're gonna show up to my house," and then he just starts saying the guy's address on stream, and you're like,
That
"What?"
goes
Like,
doxing. He's doxing.
yeah, it's like, wow, this is insane. Like, and then I think that guy was like, if you show up, just so you know, we're in Florida and they have stand your ground laws, right? And
Oh
Fuzi's like,
shit!
I'll
Yeah.
show up. He's like, I'll show up. I don't care. It's like,
Oh
oh
shit!
my
Yeah, no,
gosh.
Florida. Yeah, Florida, and like, listen, like Florida's like on that like different is like is on that side where like yeah, no, they ain't gonna hesitate to shoot. So
Yeah, it's just
oh my god. I
madness.
mean, the
What's
thing
going
is,
on?
I'm one of those people that have watched Fuzi since his prank days, and it's like the rise and fall of FuziTube will go down as one of the biggest stories on YouTube.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's like, and I know like we've obviously have complained about this person who has the name 22 in their name because of the sus things that they've done this year. But like I saw
Right.
a clip of like FuziTube. I don't know if he was yelling at that person on the phone or whatever, but he's like claiming that he's the reason why that person was famous to begin with.
Yeah, I don't really understand what was going on. Like, there was no like context because I watched a couple of videos and no one really gave the context to that, but eh, I
Well,
guess
I'll,
it doesn't matter. But
I'll say his name. Like I remember back in 2018 during the whole July 15 event, he was on Adam
mm,
22's No Jumper show. And
right,
like that's where like more bizarre behavior was coming in, where he was telling Keemstar and Adam the story about how he met Drake. And I explained this earlier in the stream. He's like name dropping all these people that are in the club, like Joel Embiid, Ludacris. And he basically like, this is where the king of comedy aspect happens, where he's like looking at Drake. He's like stalking Drake. Yo, like, I don't know, like, where I found this video. He was like doing these videos where he's like screaming out the window of his car, like talking about how like he's gonna find Drake, and he's like yelling about energy, and some person's yelling at him to get back in his car.
Jesus.
And he's like saying in front of the camera like how he's waiting outside for Drake.
Like,
this is stalker behavior.
This is
and he thinks Drake stared at him and like slowly nodding at him is like Drake talking to him. It's like maybe Drake was doing that just so you can go away.
This is like King of Comedy or some Fight Club moment where he's like, he thinks that he's all friends with these people.
I'm like,
it's like having conversations with them. Like, this is getting out of hand, man.
And then, like, so on that same No Jumper show, after Keemstar leaves, Sam Pepper and Ice Poseidon come in.
Yeah.
And Sam Pepper's like, first of all, FouseyTube made Sam Pepper look like the voice of reason. I don't know how you do that because Sam Pepper's, he's another idiot.
Yeah, he's another just terrible person. Holy.
Yo, like Ice Poseidon is just like sitting there as the most useless human being ever.
Yeah, isn't Ice Poseidon sitting in a jail cell somewhere?
Oh my god, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I don't remember which country. I think maybe it's like Thailand or something. But he's in prison, I think. So.
Oh my god.
That guy's another just. What's going on with all these people? Like I heard another person who used to hang out with Ice Poseidon, Andy Milonakis, who's an actual celebrity before the internet. Like that guy was running some NFT scam, and he's like stole a bunch of money from people, and now he's like on the run. So it's like I don't know what's going on with these internet people, man. It's just nonsense.
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, apparently Ice Poseidon was arrested back in June after he live streamed himself giving a female companion a lap dance in charge for violating Thailand's anti-pornography laws.
just man.
For these YouTubers, oh my, listen. These YouTubers need to control their hormones.
I mean, like,
I'm sorry.
It's crazy you could get arrested for something like that, but like, wow. Like, you're going to be stuck in a foreign country's prison? Oof, that's rough.
Oh my goodness. I mean, and I listen, I used to think when the Ireland boy pranksters, like these guys called the Ireland boys that do pranks, almost getting arrested in Vietnam for impersonating an officer was bad. This is just more bizarre. But it's like at least there that like, okay, impersonating an officer in any country I assume is illegal.
Right.
Especially a communist country like Vietnam. There's still a communist regime. So of course, like that's a no-no.
Right.
But yeah, like I remember on that podcast, like, yo, FouseyTube was like getting him in Sam Pepper's face. He's like singing the Four Ghosts song, and one of the lyrics that he keeps dropping is like Bella Hadid DM'd him back with an XO. It's like you had a girlfriend at the time. You bragging about Bella Hadid DMing you. I'm just saying, like the thing is, FouseyTube's also a serial cheater.
Yeah, he is. He is like.
Like people think Dante from the Clerks movies is a serial cheater. Look at FouseyTube. Like he's the biggest serial cheater out there.
Yeah, he was. It's just insane what was going on. Like, I mean, and he has the nerve to say he's like reformed. He's a reformed addict, and like, bro, like this is just sickening what you're doing, man. Like,
well, here's the other thing. In that Twitter space where he's yelling at Keemstar, he's basically like not saying it, but he's accusing, but he's like saying like making comments about like Keemstar's girlfriend. He's like saying like Keemstar's girlfriend is a 16-year-old. Now I don't know who Keemstar's girlfriend is.
My gosh.
But like he's saying all this stuff about Keemstar's girlfriend.
Right.
And literally, it's like, okay, why you want to comment about women when you basically just like you had something happening with a girl, and apparently this girl that because this all started with a controversy involving this girl that he had sex with in a bathroom.
Right, right. Which
Apparently, this
was
girl
disturbing.
had and not just it was disturbing. Apparently, this girl had like a history of
Yes.
being a victim, which makes it even worse.
Yeah, he took advantage of that woman. And it was what, like, he paid her too on top of that. It just was like, what the hell? And he did it all in front of the live stream. And then he tried to like deflect and said that it didn't happen because he realized like a bunch of people in his chat were saying like, bro, like you took advantage of her and you should be ashamed of yourself and blah blah blah, right? And then he was like, oh no, it never happened. Like you guys didn't see nothing. And he tried to pretend like it didn't happen. It's I don't, man, you really must be in La La Land or somewhere in your mind to think no one saw what you just said and did.
But it's like
Just
he's like
insane.
yelling at Keemstar saying, "You're not a good person." I'm
Yeah,
like, why are you throwing stones at glass houses?
because that's what he does. He's clearly needs a lot more help. I think he should. I've seen a lot of people say this, but they should. I don't know, his parents or something. They need to like intervene and maybe get him off the internet. Like if he's gone to therapy, he should stay in therapy for a good long time. You should avoid the internet entirely. Just get off of it
And listen,
because it's
I
not
know
helping.
people in the movie talk community like to accuse other YouTubers of being terminally online. FouseyTube is the
Mhm.
example, is the definition of someone who's terminally online. This guy was
Yeah.
doing 24/7 streams on Twitch,
Hmm.
and it's like he's making all he's showing all these videos. He has a video on Instagram of him sitting on top of a counter talking about how like all these YouTubers have been exposed, and like he's talking about money. He's always talking about goddamn money.
Yep. Yep.
Like one day he'll be so rich. He's so rich. He's giving $50,000 to stand on the Uber
Oh,
driver's car.
oh, did you see what he said about Kick? He said that Kick was going to give him $77 million to be on their platform. And it's like, bro, what? Like that's not even close to being true. Like they would never give any streamer that kind of money, bro. Like, but I think the actual deal with Kick that he had was 15 million, and it was under the condition that he wouldn't, like, for one day there wouldn't be any controversy, and he couldn't even last a day. Like that just shows you that this guy needs some actual help, like severe help. Like you gave up literally $15 million, $15 million to what? To like have this? To do this? Like this is insane. I don't get that.
It's like it's so insane. Like the things that this guy has been saying. He's obviously got this bizarre look in his eye, like every time he's talking,
Yeah.
and it's
Which
like
is which is
he
yeah, I
obviously
don't
did
know.
July 15 to promote his diss track on Rice Gum, another
Mm,
problematic YouTuber.
no, man.
It's like they're literally in the same clan. It's like you all suck as human beings.
Yeah, they need to, that's what I'm saying. The internet brings out something, man. I don't really get it. Like it's all the clouds, the money, like the attention, like the fact that like it's not even hundreds of people, it's thousands of people watching you at one time, right? Just, I mean, that eventually is gonna like eat away at you and do something to you, especially if you couldn't handle it to begin with, right? So,
It's like I know he tried getting into YouTube boxing and like that
yeah.
obviously didn't work out. Like he broke his nose in his first fight.
Hmm.
But it's just a never ending story with this guy, and I part of me hopes that he learns from this.
Mm.
Oh my
I
god!
hope he gets help.
And Yeah, I just saw like what RJ posted like an hour ago on Twitter, like of something about Spider-Man Lotus that I want to share real quick.
Oh wow, what happened?
Um,
Yeah, pull it up because I didn't see
so
anything.
so Cosmonaut Variety Hour is very famous for saying the Raimi movies aren't good Spider-Man movies,
No man.
and now he's gonna say Spider-Man Lotus is the worst superhero movie ever made and like a film born from spite.
God damn. That movie. I mean, just a disclaimer. I couldn't finish the movie, but I seen like the ending. Like I just skipped to the ending and watched it. It's look. Here's the thing, right? The guy who made it, he's 19, right? So besides all the potentially racist and insensitive things, and I think he even like got one of his actors like hooked on alcohol, and now he like this guy's like an alcoholic. Besides all of that, right? Besides the controversy, this movie just was like a very expensive student film. That's what that was, right? Where it's like, okay, they have some VFX shots that look pretty nice, but overall, the direction of the movie, like the action scenes, like that first action scene is so bad because you can't tell what's going on. And then on top of that too, the movie just it's like a melodrama where Peter is very like he's so angry at everyone and it's actually disturbing. Like he's actually an abusive scumbag. Like that's I'm sorry to say that, but like that's what it was. I've never seen Peter Parker depicted in that way, and he should never be depicted that way, in my opinion. It was just I like how could you write that and think that was okay? I don't understand. Like that's not someone who's grieving should not be abusive toward anybody, in my opinion. Right? You shouldn't unless it's like that's the point of the movie. But the movie was so like unaware of so unaware of that he was just abusive. Like he was straight up telling Mary Jane, like, "Oh, you always think about yourself and like get out of here, just leave." And he was just like constantly yelling at her. And then all of a sudden, like she comes back and tells him, "Oh yeah, you were right." And I was like, "Wow, this is like emotional manipulation here." Like I'm like I've never seen this before in a movie that tried to play it off like it was a good thing. But yeah, that's my take on it. Just oh boy.
Yeah, like I've heard a lot of things. And apparently, there's something with the Green Goblin actor. Like apparently, he's been accused of sus stuff.
Yeah, it's just I
I
don't
mean,
get it, man.
I seen one trailer for this movie and I was just not interested.
No,
And by the
it's a
way,
fan film, so yeah.
you weren't impressed by the Rebel Moon trailer from what I'm gathering.
Yeah, we saw it because they showed it at Gamescom, so I did get to see it. I did see it twice, just out of curiosity, and personally, I mean, I've seen Army of the Dead, right? I'm not a big fan of Army of the Dead. But this movie reminded me a lot of Sucker Punch. And also, too, it just felt a little too generic. Like I was expecting a little bit something like something completely different, but it just feels like a cross between Star Wars, a lot of kind of generic sci-fi games that we've been getting. Like the main character's like this farmer, and I guess she was a soldier, and they're like, okay, like we've seen stories like that before. Like she's trying to run away from this empire or whatever. So I don't know. I wasn't too impressed. Even visually, I wasn't impressed. I mean, it's a space movie, but it feels very grimy and dirty, but not in a aesthetically pleasing way. So yeah, I just don't care.
The thing is with Zack Snyder, and even from the movies of his that I like, they obviously have a very bleak color
Yeah,
to them. And the thing is, when it comes to sci-fi movies, not everything's got to be as colorful as Star Wars or Star Trek. Like Dune isn't
mhm,
exactly the most colorful movie,
right.
but Dune also had a more impressive trailer.
Yes, and it
And
just visually looks interesting,
yeah, and like the
despite it
visuals,
looking the same.
and the visuals are still very good.
Right.
And the thing is, Dune was written before Star Wars, so Dune was one of the founding fathers of like this kind of science fiction in a way.
Mhm.
Where like Rebel Moon just feels like it's copying not just from Dune, but from Star Wars, maybe some Star Trek.
Right. Any sort of, I mean, there's a lot of, like, we can dig up and look these types of sci-fi because it's just like escapes me, but like you've seen it because it's so generic, right? It's so like tropey. And that's why I didn't like the trailer. I was hoping that it would have been a different take, right? It would have been like Zack Snyder doing a Star Wars movie, like his take on a story within the Star Wars universe. But it just seems more like, hey, we did pretty much the same story as Star Wars, right? But we change, the characters around, and you know, it's not Star Wars. That's why I didn't like the trailer, right? Because the main character looks like Luke Skywalker, right? The whole farmer thing. It's like, okay, we've seen that before.
So the thing is, people are gonna say like Zack Snyder is better than George Lucas. All of a sudden, it's like, wait, what?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
look,
and you know how they act. Yeah,
and look, George Lucas is flawed. Like, obviously, the prequels are very flawed, but
hmm
still, like any of his prequel movies have been better reviewed than most of Zack Snyder's movies,
right,
and like they made more money than Snyder's movies.
right, and they're a lot more influential, right?
Yeah, like the
Outside,
first
I
Star Wars
mean,
movie.
even besides Star Wars, right? Like American Graffiti and was it THX? I forget the experimental movie he made, but yeah.
It's like a part of me kind of wants to see what the Phantom Menace is thinking of this, because obviously like they hate on Star Wars all the time nowadays. They're not even really Star Wars fans. They're just
Mhm.
using Star Wars to promote their agenda.
Right.
It's like I'm
I
wondering like if they're gonna either use this as like an anti woke kind of thing, or say this is just more woke sci-fi.
well, I think they're gonna say it's woke sci-fi, because from what I heard, there's a non-binary character in the movie, so
Oh,
they're gonna lose it when they hear something like that, right? But then also too, the main character is a female, and it's like definitely will give you Luke Skywalker vibes or Ray vibes, right? So I'm sure they'll complain about that. So we'll see, because I did see some people who are not, you know, they're I don't know what you would call them, but they're more like just open in general to movies. And some people did like it, which I was surprised by. Because most of the people that I talked to, right, like me and RJ and Meta, we didn't like it. Then some of my friends outside of YouTube, they didn't really care for it. Um, and obviously Aaron didn't care for it either. His reaction was funny. So so yeah, I was like, it was just my bubble, I guess, that didn't care for the movie, but I don't know. We'll see how it does when it comes out on Netflix, I guess. Because that whole part 2 thing is also just
it's coming out in
uh,
April. It's like you only get like a let's see, it comes out December, so January, February, March,
right.
April, like 4 months.
Yeah. I'm like, are people really gonna care for the second part? Like, is this
Well, the only way people are gonna care is if part one's good.
right? But
And
I'm
look,
hoping I'm hoping it's not like a case where it's one movie that they just split into, because that would be, you know what I mean? Like, definitely frustrating.
yeah, I hope that's not the case either.
Yeah.
Because I know Zack Snyder likes to make things so long.
hmm
Look, I'm not trying to take a dig at Zack Snyder. It's just like after Army of the Dead, I'm very hesitant with him and Netflix now, because Army of the Dead was not that good.
No, it
It's
was not good.
I mean, they go on this rescue mission for this person that just lands up dying at the end.
Right.
That's the only character I really feel bad for. We don't. Should I even feel bad for this character because like they chose to go into that place? Like,
Yeah, Army of the Dead. I mean, they clearly rewrote it, but it still was that nonsense script that I didn't even like to begin with. So yeah.
You know, there's people that say it's a better Suicide Squad movie than the Suicide Squad that came out that year, the James Gunn one.
Oh man, like
Hell,
people need to
hell,
stop with that. No, not even close. Not even close.
the,
Like
like
that whole movie's is like a heist, but it's really not an heist, and then it's just nonsense. Like, and I still like the fact that there's robot zombies and the movie never explains this. Like, just shows you how sloppy it is, right? Like, why would
but
you
it's,
put that in the movie if you weren't gonna show it properly or explain it? Like, just weird.
well, the thing is, it's like the fact that for some miraculous reason they contained a virus, a zombie epidemic into Las Vegas, just Las
Mhm.
Vegas. But it's like there's been no outbreaks until like the one
Right.
guy that survived saw that he did get bitten. It's like to me, this all of a sudden reminds me of the ending of Rise of the Planet of the Apes. They stole the ending of Rise of the Planet of the Apes,
Hmm.
where the guy that the airport where the next door neighbor in Rise of the Planet of the Apes got the virus, and because he's a pilot for airplanes, he's spreading it, and then it
Hmm.
spreads to another place, and it spreads to another place. Now they didn't really show it spreading, but obviously the idea is the same thing
Right.
because this guy's on a plane at the end. So there's really no originality in Army of the Dead.
Yeah, it's just generic zombie movie with. I mean, the idea of a zombie heist definitely sounds interesting. That part I was more excited about, but they didn't do that. That's the problem with that movie. It's just like, why would you have this premise and not do anything with it? Right. So I don't know. Zack Snyder. Oh, and also too, I forgot to mention, Rebel Moon also has a director's cut on top of the two parts.
Oh my goodness, this has always got to be
Yeah.
a director's cut.
Yeah, I don't really see like at that point, they're milking this clearly, right? Like either Netflix thinks that Zack Snyder does have a large fan base, which from what I've seen, did Rebel Moon do really well? Because we were talking about that, and I was like, oh, it's still too early to tell. But it didn't look great, right? Like the views on it were meh. The engagement on Twitter was meh. So I don't really know. It seems like these Snyder fans only support the DC stuff that he does.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like all of a sudden they're gonna show up in droves on Netflix.
Yeah.
Like here's the thing. Like there was like literally no talk from them about Army of the Dead,
Hmm.
and that came out 2 months after the Snyder cut, when the Snyder
Yeah.
fandom was still in a decent place,
Right.
and they don't even talk about Army of the Dead.
Yeah. I mean, what happened to that Army of the Dead sequel? Are we getting it after this movie? Like,
Heck, Army of Thieves. I never even bothered watching that.
no, I didn't even bother either. Like, why would anyone watch that movie on top of that too? It's just like a prequel to one of the characters. Like, there's no zombies. There's no
Yeah,
nothing.
like
Yeah, it's
it's
weird.
one thing if the prequel was about like the first month or two, or like the first days of a zombie apocalypse in
Right.
Vegas. That actually would have been an interesting idea.
Right.
But
But no, they didn't do that. Well, also too, is there an animated Army of the Dead show that they were working on or something?
I remember they were working on that. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah. I don't know. There's just so many projects with Zack Snyder on with Netflix that I'm like, what was what and what was real? It's
Oh,
confusing.
speaking of DC, did you finally see Blue Beetle?
No, I'm to be honest, I'm gonna wait um to see it. I was thinking of on the $4 movies to watch it, but then I was like, I kind of just don't really want to watch it. Like I'm not in the mood to watch it just yet. Just based on what you guys were saying and a couple other people. Um, like I definitely would rather watch that than Shazam 2. But sometimes with especially with these superhero movies now, I'm more hesitant to watch them because I feel like if it is just a standard superhero movie, then should I really watch it? Because I already know what it's going to be.
That's,
So I
that's
kind of right, yeah. Like I want something that's a little bit more, not even like even if it's generic, like at least have some interesting twist or like something that I didn't expect, right? So then I'm like, you know what? Maybe I will check it out just out of curiosity. So
I think when you eventually watch it, I think you'll like it more than the Flash.
right.
First of all, like the special effects are a lot better than the Flash.
Mhm.
Um, and also it's not it doesn't need to be as big as like people think it probably should be,
Right.
and it's not like it's like tying into anything. So honestly, I can see James Gunn if he wanted to continue this version of Blue Beetle in the DCU. Like I know he wants to
Mhm.
keep Zolo around, but it's a matter of like, are they going to continue the story arc that they started in the rest of the cast?
Right.
Because like the potential, I see the potential, and I will say like the villains, you could have done more with the villains. It's not like they're just villains in a movie that are just throwaway. Like there were like like the one villain, the OMAC character. I think there was potential for him to be more,
Hmm.
and like there were hints of it. But it's like it was like the last minute they dropped this character's backstory.
Right.
Like I'll say this is definitely the villains in this are definitely better than like the villain in the first Ant Man, the Yellow Jacket Darren
Hmm.
villain, because at least like the Susan Sarandon character, who's the main antagonist, she actually has a motivation that's understandable. Where like Darren just hates Hank Pym for some odd reason.
Right.
Where
Yeah,
like
that's
this
what I did hear that the sister was actually a decent ish villain.
because like she has a reason to be bitter towards Ted Cord
Hmm.
and like be bitter towards her niece. So it's like that like there's a motivation behind
Right.
it. And like obviously like some of the ways the tactics that she used to get the scarab are like actually like really twisted and disturbing.
Hmm.
It's crazy that that a Blue Beetle movie is one of the better DCEU movies.
Yeah, it's maybe it's I'm confused too. What like why did this movie do well but like Shazam 2 didn't? Or like why did this movie do better than The Flash in terms of like the reception? So, I mean, I'm glad that people like it. It's just I don't know. I feel like it's even like this with comics for me too, where even if there's a character that everybody likes, I don't necessarily gravitate toward it just because it doesn't like interest me all that much, right? Like it needs to be something where it's like it's a different take or it's a different spin on the character. It has a unique premise for me to care. And that's why I mean I'm not like loyal to one character, right? Because I know one like a character like Spider-Man has runs that are not good. They're really not worth reading at all, right? So I'm not going to bother my time reading it, right? Like I may have an idea of what happens in it, but I'm not going to like actually sit down and read the entire run just to say I'm a Spider-Man fan, right? So that's just
Well,
sort of like how I do
well, I
things
think
too.
part of the reason why a lot of people are like this movie is first of all, I think no one was expecting this movie to be as good as it was because this was supposed to
Right.
be an HBO Max movie. And I think the expectations were met more with this movie than the other two.
Right.
Because the first Shazam movie is considered one of the best DCEU movies, and then all of a sudden you make a movie with Shazam: Fury of the Gods where the reception is a lot worse, and it's coming out in a crowded March. Doesn't help. And then the Flash, you gotta remember the Flash, they hyped the crap out of that movie.
Mm.
And look what happened. Like, it didn't live up to the hype.
Yeah, the Flash is. I'm sure people at Warner Brothers are confused too.
Honestly, they should
Um,
have put all their marketing into Blue Beetle.
yeah, I think in hindsight they should have, especially if they were going to play up that whole. This is the first Latin superhero, right? Which I mean, because I did see some criticism about that. Like it's more like Latin American, like more of like I guess the Hispanic experience in America, which not all Hispanics are going to resonate with, right? Because there's so many different countries and cultures within that. So it's kind of like like um, people just assuming like black culture is all the same. It's like, well, you got Caribbean people, you got African people, right? And then you got different countries within the Caribbean and Africa. So, uh, right. So, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of diversity that you don't really see in movies that I wish they did put, right? Like, Into the Spider Verse, I thought actually does a better job with diversity. I think it's probably the only movie this year I felt that did a really good job with it because it actually felt like authentic, right? Like the Jamaican guy that was working at that store in Across the Spider Verse, like that was hilarious. Like that's actually something you would see. It's like this Jamaican guy that you always go to, and he's running the store, right? So like stuff like that. I was like, I want more from movies, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah.
But it's like also I feel like the films may star Zolo. I don't know. Maybe I'm
Mhm.
thinking too deep into this. Like comparing that to Ezra Miller and Zachary Levi and some of the weird stuff that that he said this year, Zachary Levi, or
Right.
the weird behavior. Zolo just comes across as a more likable star.
Hmm.
Where like
There's that too. Yeah.
where those two they're just so weird. So I think like a lot more people would rather see Zolo succeed because he's also on Cobra Kai and a lot of people love him in Cobra Kai
Right.
than seeing the other two succeed. But it's weird. I'm hearing all these stories about like these Latino communities, Latino schools like buying out movie theaters, but it's like it's not translating to the box office.
Mm. Well, because I think it's doing well in America, but it's not doing well anywhere else. Like, and I was even telling Aaron, I was like, oh, I thought it was weird that in Toronto they were promoting it. Like they were trying to push it hard in Toronto, which I don't really get because we don't have a large Hispanic community. So it was just kind of like this movie's probably not going to do very well, which I'm pretty sure it didn't do well here. So I think it's definitely is more of an American movie, and that's why it's not playing super well, right? Well, something like Black Panther, and this is something some people don't realize. Black Panther played really well in a lot of different countries because the whole story and experience wasn't just a black experience, right? Like in India, Black Panther did extremely well because a lot of the people could like relate to what was going on, right? Especially with like what Killmonger was doing, and why he was so bitter, or even T'Challa and his ancestors. So that whole story, even though yes, it's a predominantly black movie, resonated with other cultures. While Blue Beetle, what is there really to resonate besides you know what I mean, like the
I mean,
the one cultural thing.
well, I mean, the one thing I will say is like at the beginning of the movie, he's coming back from graduating college, and like he finds out
Mm,
his family's struggling, and he's obviously working jobs that are like throwaway jobs. Like you
right.
don't need an education for it. Like he can be doing so much better. So I think that's like the one aspect that's relatable, how close he is to
Hmm.
his family, in the memes that he'll in the sacrifices that he'll make to provide for that family.
Right.
Like I will say that makes him more relatable than a lot of these other superheroes in both Marvel and DC.
Hmm.
So like they're like I will say like that's the one thing that's relatable, and also I feel like the family dynamic in this movie it's a lot better than the Shazam one.
Right. Yeah, I did hear that. That was also pretty
George Lopez
good
was
dynamic.
hilarious, so I will say that George Lopez, like the humor is carried by George Lopez for the most part.
Right. Which is not a surprise, but yeah.
It's like literally like I don't know if you ever saw the George Lopez show. It's like if you took George Lopez's character from his old comedy, the George Lopez show, and just put him in this movie. He's not. It's like just call him Uncle George. No, you're
Right, right.
like Uncle George.
Yeah, I don't know that the thing is that was barely in the trailer. Maybe they should have played that up more in the trailer. Like especially that whole part where if he is like, yeah, he's kind of like a a struggling college student trying to help his family. Like you see the family in the trailer, but it's more like they're on an adventure, right? There's not a lot of like emotional bonding going on. It's just sort of, lots of jokes, a lot of action and stuff. And I mean that's why to me when I first saw the trailer, it does look generic. But if you went with the parts that you're highlighting, to me that would make a more interesting, just off the rip, but interesting trailer. So they gotta really, especially at Warner Brothers, they gotta make sure that they're just not marketing. I don't want to say junk, but like it comes across like junk, right? Like let's just do a generic trailer for Blue Beetle, and maybe people will watch it. Like actually put some effort and some creativity into marketing these movies, because that's also another problem too.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm like watching this movie. I'm like the trailers didn't do it any justice.
Right.
Cause like there are some things that it does do or tries to do that does make it more unique than like a formulaic movie.
Hmm.
Like obviously the family aspect, they obviously do try to do more with the family compared to other superhero movies. And they try to at least give one of the villains that feels similar to Blue Beetle, because when one of the villains has technology that's similar to Blue Beetle, they try to give him like a tragic backstory that I think could have worked really well if they just executed it better.
Right.
Because like they're dropping hints of it, but then it's like the last minute they throw it in, and it's like it's sad what happened to this person in before they became this bodyguard. But it's like I feel like they could have done a better job like showing this more throughout the movie before like they just dropped it all at once.
Mm.
But it's like this movie is better than like a lot of the Phase 4 movies that have come out. And I know that's not like a high bar, but it's like if I'm gonna rewatch a movie, I really rather rewatch this than like most of the movies that have come out in Phase 4 and beyond.
Right. Nah, and that's fair. Yeah, just based on. I mean, I still haven't watched the movie, but I could totally understand why.
Because like it felt like we also at least kind of went back to more traditional movie roots where there's no other heroes in the movie,
Hmm.
which I kind of miss. So there was like a nostalgia for that.
Right.
Because I feel like the thing is with superhero movies nowadays is they rely on having all these other characters in there
Hmm.
when they don't really need to. Just tell a good story with the main hero.
Right. I mean, I think also a problem too is, and this is something that I kind of notice is, you notice how like it's a superhero movie, but yet they never find a way to use the powers in an interesting way. Like sometimes it's like like powers are invented in every new movie, right? Like in Thor: Love and Thunder, all of a sudden Thor has the power of giving these kids his power, and they're like, wait a minute,
Yeah,
where did that even come from, right? Like there's some, and this is something I noticed too in comics too. Like there's very few writers who will actually use characters' powers in interesting ways, right? Like there's an X Factor comic, or X Force, sorry, not X Factor. There's an X Force comic, I forget. I think it was maybe Rick Remember, I think that's his name. And he did the team was like Wolverine, Deadpool, a couple other characters, right? But in one of the this like one arc, right? They were actually like stranded and they were gonna die, right? They were like, we have no food or anything like that. And so the only way for them to actually survive was to actually eat Deadpool, which is sick, right? But like it actually makes sense because he could generate his limbs and so he could actually feed them, right? And they're like, oh, that's disgusting, but that actually makes sense, right? And I never see this in like any DC or Marvel movie where it's like, oh, the characters aren't just using super strength or they're not just, punching someone really hard, but instead they're actually using their powers in a way where it's like, oh, we're in this situation. Maybe if I don't know, use my laser beams to like reflect off the mirrors or something, I can hit the guy, right? Like that's running away in the distance. I don't know. That's just some example, right? But like, I kind of wish we had more of that because it might actually make the movie entertaining. So, but yeah. Oh, we got Blue Jay here. What's up?
What's up, everybody? I'm on
Yeah,
my
Just
Blue
phone.
Jay.
popped
I'm on
in.
my phone right now, but how's it going?
Doing good.
Pretty good.
Good. So um, I just have y'all seen Ahsoka?
No.
I saw the first episode before I came on.
I did. I
Oh,
saw
you
like
did? Okay.
the first two episodes. I really enjoyed it. I really did.
I'll be
Hmm.
honest, I did like the first episode. The thing is, I'm watching it and I'm looking at myself and it's like, this isn't the greatest Star Wars, but it's the show that feels the most like a Star Wars movie.
Right. Because like I'm kind of thinking like, hold on. I'm kind of thinking like this is I'm more biased in a way because this is a continuation of Rebels. Rebels is one of the because believe it or not, Rebels was the first piece of Star Wars media that I actually loved.
Oh
That's
wow.
because
Okay.
I never really was a big Star Wars fan. Like I was aware of Clone Wars and at night I watched like a handful of episodes here and there, but like I was younger at the time, so I wasn't really watching much of Clone Wars, more like Transformers Prime. But then
Hmm.
after that show ended, like a year later, you do have Rebels that came out, which I kind of wanted to watch it, and then it wasn't until like a couple episodes in the first season I was kind of hooked in.
Hmm.
But yeah, it did kind of like boost my liking for Star Wars a little bit. Like I've always was aware of Star Wars. Like it's not like I've watched the original trilogy before, so
Right.
yeah, I'm
It,
not
it was the it was the
yeah.
prequel Star Wars that got me into Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Revenge of the Sith is still my second favorite Star Wars movie. I know it's not the best Star Wars movie, but I just love the hell out of that movie.
Right. Yeah, and mostly because like this is a continuation of Rebels, and I've been waiting for like 5 years for them to continue where they left off and stuff. So like finally, I was like, I don't know why it's called Ahsoka. I just call it Rebel Season 5, but in live action. That's
Hmm.
what it basically is. Kind of, that's it. I really liked it. I'm hoping they stick the landing. This is 8 episodes in total. So
Okay.
I'm crossing my fingers for greatness because I did the Disney Plus shows have been pretty hit or miss for me. I don't, or either that or either they're not particularly like the greatest, or I never bother to watch them because I just forget that they're coming out.
Right. Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it is what it is. And oh yeah, we did a review of Blue Beetle. Yeah, we liked it.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
I did see that. Yeah.
you missed Blue Jay my little rant about FouseyTube before. I know we've differentiated from the conversation, but apparently FouseyTube's getting mental help now. I don't know if you heard Blue Jay or been paying attention.
I don't really, I don't care. Level, I like the Fousey Tube. I'm like, I don't watch him to begin with, and I barely even knew
Right.
he existed. So it's
Oh,
one of those
man.
like things where I just like, okay, it's another one of those like big YouTubers with a lot of money to get into some stupid bullshit. So
Well, remember we were joking about how like, yo, imagine if like he's like watching a stream and hearing me talk about him and he wants to come on and challenge me.
right,
No.
yeah. Out of all, you have to be
I-
terminally online to actually find the specific dude named
He is
George.
terribly online. I even
Yeah.
said that.
He is, yeah. He
Right,
is.
you have to find a specific dude named George to not just George, the George, to actually to debate him. I'm like, really? Like, if that's the case, I would debate Keemstar.
Oh, man.
We were also taking shots at a Spider-Man Lotus. I know you
Yeah.
shared before that you wrote a review.
No, I
Of
wrote a
Spider-Man
fake review.
Oh, fake review.
No.
Fake review, but it was like,
Oh, trust me, I did a fake. So what I did was, I took the liberty to go to ChatGPT and say, can you write me a glowing review of Spider-Man Lotus? And oh my gosh, even from like the first paragraph of it, when it's typing, I was already cringing because ChatGPT, what it does, it just does the most corniest positive like way of showing positivity I've ever seen it in my life. Like it's so like
Yeah,
I
it's artificial.
it's so artificial, and like I was gonna copy and paste it, but when you do IMDb reviews, it only lets you do 600 characters. So I was
Right.
like, okay, yeah, or 600 words, I believe. So I just like just kind of just tweak it a bit, or just oh my gosh, like I had to send you like a screenshot of how corny. I remember it did some. I was laughing my ass off. This thing did not say the thing that it said. So at the end I was like, let me freaking find. Oh, okay. If on my phone, because hopefully I don't like cut off or whatever. Because I'm always trying to.
Oh, is he pulling up the? Because he did cut off.
Okay,
I don't
because
know.
when I'm trying to exit out and stuff. So like, hold on. That oh god.
Yeah, I hate that it does that.
It says some. Oh wow. Okay, you know what? Let me go on my computer. You don't mind if I read it to you guys?
Yeah, you can read it.
Yeah, you just read it.
Yeah. Let me. So, can you prepare to cringe, people? So,
Get the hazmat suit on.
get the hazmat suit on. All right. Already, it did a headline calling Spider-Man Lotus a triumph in fan-made filmmaking. Okay. Okay. So, director Gavin J. Conop's Spider-Man Lotus. Fuck. It's not just another. It's not just another fan film. It is a masterful cinematic experience that not only pays homage to the classic Spider-Man mythos, but also stand on its own as a deeply emotional and poignant narrative about loss, recovery, and redemption.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
man.
Oh my god. It's just I can't even read this on a straight face.
Is this Rocky Is this the plot to Rocky Balboa or Spider-Man Lotus?
God, it's like I'm not even gonna try to read this. I just cringe every time I read this stuff. Like it literally just types this shit out for me. Like oh my gosh. What did it say again? Something about like it's so crazy. Like when he talks about Gavin J. Conop, it's like that is a straight up lie. So apparently Mr. Conop delves deep into Peter's psyche, exploring the profound effects of trauma and the weight of responsibility.
Oh boy.
Oh my gosh. And then literally like okay, get this. Okay, this is the last paragraph of this, okay? Spider-Man oh my god. I can't even read this. It's Spider-Man Lotus is not just a triumph for fan films. It's a testament to the enduring appeal of Spider-Man and the power of creativity collaboration. It reminds us why we fell in oh my god, why we fell in love with the character. Not this one. Not this one. No, not the Raimi trilogy, not Mark Webb, not even Tom Holland. Lotus. It's proof. You guys prepare yourself. It's proof that with
Hey,
great
Ferris.
power comes great creativity. It did not say that. Oh man.
Oh man.
I don't know. I can't read this again.
Oh my goodness! Like literally, when I saw you shared your review, I was like, he's gotta be trolling.
I am trolling. Like, dude, it's one of the weirdest. Like, I watched the first half of that. Actually, I was bored.
Yeah, it's boring. That's what I said. It's so boring.
Like
How do you make a
like-
Spider-Man movie, even if it's a fan film, boring?
A lot of it is just like I said. It's a student film. Like there's so many things where it's like, if like I would just cut. Like there's a scene where he goes to the grave, and you actually have to like see him walk to the grave, right? And you're like, just start him on like looking at the grave. Like you don't need to show him going to the grave. Like it's such a waste of time.
like the thing is that I can kind of see what they were going with, but I like just most of it. It's like I can't really shit on it too much because it's a fan film, but like because I even read the IMDb reviews for this movie, and like I looked at the 10 out of 10 stuff. Some of them just gotta be trolls. Like
No,
one of them, like the headline says haters. I'm like, okay, what do you mean? Like people said like, oh my gosh, like
I saw, they took it off Letterbox. They took them because like it was like some of the reviews on Letterbox, they were just straight up like annihilating the movie.
I bet. Because it's like they even play like these, what I hate in like CW and stuff where they play like these depressing ass music and shit.
Yeah.
I was comparing it to CW. I was like, it feels like it sounds like if you made this into a CW show.
Like if it's
Where
like
did you stop watching it, Blue Jay? I'm curious.
I don't know. I think it was the part when where they they got to like I don't remember. I think it's the part where they finally had like where they had the full CG effect of Spider-Man jumping out of the bridge and swinging. That's where I stopped.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, things are gonna get interesting. And after that, I think there's nothing that happened.
Because that whole beginning, it takes a while to start the freaking movie.
Like I don't see that's the thing. Like I saw like one of the reviews. I'm not even gonna bother to look at it. Like they said like, because people just want dumb action. They can't. Oh my fucking god! They can't appreciate the build up, quote unquote.
Oh god. If there's no build up though, it's all over the place. Because you start the movie with him fighting the Shocker, and then he misses the date with Gwen, and then did something happen after that? Maybe something happened, and then it was the title sequence, and then they just go into like, oh, Gwen is dead, and the Green Goblin is out there, and blah blah blah, and you have like Peter who's like watching the news, and he's like all like burnt and destroyed.
See,
and you're like, it's so weird.
Ahead.
Yeah, the movie just like another thing. Before you speak, sorry, Gwen, you never see the relationship with Peter and Gwen.
No,
right, and that's also what makes the movie kind of boring because you're not invested, right? Which, like, they expect you to be invested because it's Spider-Man, which is dumb, insanely dumb.
right.
Yeah, but yeah, yes.
Yeah,
That's
Well,
pretty much it.
that's a good point. I know. It's trying to combine like two Spider-Man stories that people do, like The Boy Who Collects Spider-Man, Spider-Man Blue.
Mhm.
But sometimes, like, there's certain stories that just probably can't be combined, where it's like there's potential to combine them, but the execution and tone matter.
Right.
it's like I can't even
I mean,
like
I would like to see The Boy Who Collects Spider-Man, like, in some shape or form, adapted onto the big screen.
Mhm.
Because I think, I think maybe you can, like, that. I feel like there's a way you can maybe find a way to pull it off, maybe in the MCU with the direction Spider-Man's going.
Right.
Where, like, he's on his own, everyone's forgotten him, and like people are like torn on if Spider-Man's a hero or not, and like maybe a kid that's like a big fan of him that's like ill, that's dying, like reminds him what like the good Spider-Man can do.
yeah.
Mhm.
If you're
Like,
hearing
I feel like there can be potential there in a live act in like a real Spider-Man movie.
yeah, it's like I feel like just most of it, like scenes just are so drawn out. Like I even like I watched like the scene where Peter was on the laptop reminiscing of like the good times with like him, Gwen, MJ, and Harry, and it's like they play this annoying ass song, and it's like it's so drawn out. I'm just like, we get it. It should be like cut down at least. Like it doesn't like I get this is a fan film, but I don't like if it's like a big budget film from a studio, they would cut that shit down.
Exactly.
Cut. And I don't know. And also if you're hearing China from in my end, I'm playing Mortal Kombat 11.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm just getting ready for the
Wait,
Mortal Kombat.
he was trauma dumping on this sick kid.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I heard about that scene. So like don't so Peters is like don't look up to me. I'm not a good hero. Isn't that what he implied?
See, I remember. I
Yeah.
don't know if you guys ever saw the 1990 Spider-Man cartoon. There was like this episode where he visits this girl that's a fan of Spider-Man, and he's thinking about quitting being Spider-Man. And this girl, like, is a big fan and helps remind him of the good that he's done. And like he loses his memory for a while and is working with Doc Ock, but this girl saves him, and it's revealed that this girl is like very sick and is dying.
Mm.
I'm like, there's a way to pull off this story without trauma dumping and being so dark and angsty.
Yeah, that it's almost I see people compare this to Fan Four Stick.
I could see
Fan Four
something
Stick,
like that. Yeah.
well, Fan Four Stick was a troubled production.
Yeah, well, Fan Four Stick was a big studio production, but I can see the
Right.
comparison with that. It's like most of that movie is just boring. It's
It's
just
boring
like,
and a misinterpretation of the characters. Yeah.
yeah, and then just except for the where like hey it's clobbering time, punches of Doctor Doom through the shit, and that's it.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah.
Yeah, like I heard like that movie. Like it was so bad. Like Letterbox took that movie off.
Right.
Yeah. It's not worth the hassle. I'm also curious to why it was hyped up to begin with. Like who?
Lotus?
Yeah, Lotus. Like why? What? Like before all the controversies, right? Were people excited about this movie? Like
I
where
don't
did
know.
people find it?
I remember like I was like on Twitter like what is Spider-Man Lotus? I never know what it is. I thought it was like excuse me. I thought it was a comic book or some kind, but it was a fan film. And then I saw like the CG shot of Spider-Man swinging, and I was like, oh, this is a fan film. Holy shit, that's actually pretty good because I think
Right.
it looked like something. It looked pretty good for a fan film.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like you take this. It's almost like a scene straight out of the Amazing Spider-Man. Like those swinging scenes were the best of those movies. So it looked really good. but then the controversy surrounding it is like, I'm not gonna lie, some of the every time they bring up Lotus, bring up the director, or someone was like, Spider-Man fans were eating good. They got Across Spider-Verse, Spider-Man 2 game, and Lotus, and everybody was like, bros looking Lotus in there. And they have a picture of Spider-Man in a KKK outfit.
Yeah, I seen that.
That
Meme.
cracked me up.
Yeah, it's oh man, and with the eyes and stuff, man, it's just wild.
Like,
It's wild.
It's like that's wild, but like I'm not gonna lie, that's actually kind of funny in my eye, but it's
Right.
I don't know. It's gonna be interesting how that shit goes out. Like it's just dude. I was like, it'll be fun. It'll be really interesting if this Gavin dude actually gets a gig in Hollywood. So he's like gonna direct like maybe not an MCU film. I wouldn't be surprised if they give him a Sony project. Like
Oh,
do
man.
like a Jackpot the movie.
Oh, he's got a long way to go, but
I'm not. I don't know. Like they'll get. I mean, hey, they'll say, hey, we'll pay you this amount of money, but not much as an actual established director.
his. I mean, this is. I actually want to see that. Is it Cosmonaut? George, who
Cosmo.
Yeah,
who made?
Cosmonaut. Like RJ posted it on Twitter. Like he's like
Right.
Cosmonaut, who's known for hating the Raimi Spider-Man movies, is gonna be making a hate video on this, which is
Yeah,
just
like I want to. Probably after this, I might watch that because the thing is, like, for someone, because the guy who directed this movie, Spider-Man Lotus, he has like shot all over the MCU Spider-Man, and he has like he's like I know how to make Spider-Man, but he talked all of that talk and he couldn't even walk, so he doesn't actually understand Spider-Man.
That's
Um,
crazy. That's
yeah,
crazy.
and the thing is, he's lifting direct lines from the comics, lines in which you didn't need. Some of them are outdated. Like, do you remember that joke where he's like, "Oh, my look at my man shoe stash." Harry says that in the beginning of the movie. It's like, bro, why would you say that, right? Like that's in the comic, that's in like the Stanley comic, right? But you have to remember that was back in the 60s, and that character that they're referring to, that's a racist caricature now in modern times, right? Like that character was Shang-Chi's, it's a public domain character, but that was Shang-Chi's dad, and the reason why they didn't include him is because he was a racist caricature, right? So they just changed it to the Mandarin. So why would you put that in there? It just shows you like he doesn't actually understand, like he's not very sensitive, or like, oh, maybe we shouldn't do that, right?
And
Like I'm sure most people are not offended, right, by that joke, but it just shows you like he's clearly not in tune with a lot of things. So and the whole gritty Spider-Man, like who in their right mind, I'm sorry, but like who has ever liked gritty Spider-Man? Like it
I
only
no.
no, like when it's the symbiote, yes, we accept that, right?
Right.
But not when it's red and blue costume and he's Peter Parker and he's supposed to be like, yeah, he can have his down moments, but no one wants a depressing Spider-Man movie. You know what I mean? Like that's
No.
like going to a Pixar movie and seeing gore. Like the fuck, like it doesn't add up, you know. So
I think the
it's just weird.
closest you get like from a gritty Spider-Man film was the Amazing Spider-Man 1. Even that has like its fun moments, like the part when he's like bullying that crooked that the dude that jacked the car up.
Yeah,
When he jumped, he's like crotch.
yeah, like that. He was actually funny. He was still a funny Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It was just a look that made it look gritty, right? But not the actual story. Even though it does have, this Captain Stacy, he dies, right? But it's not like this moment where it's like, oh, it's like depressing, and then like everything is depressing. It's like, no, it's a moment where it's like, hey, you got to do better, right? Like you're not dragged down by, these terrible things. That's not
But,
Spider-Man at all.
wait, there was a reference to Far From Home, and I didn't know the director hates MCU Spider-Man.
I didn't know that, but yeah, he hates MCU Spider-Man.
It's what's even it's fun actually it's even funnier. It's like he did like this like he announced that the production of the movie was done, and then they show like this montage of him as a kid loving Spider-Man, and then how do you grew up? I don't understand. You grew up, you said you grew up loving Spider-Man, but then you don't know really shit about him like that. Like I don't know.
Right.
I get like he tries to like deconstruct Spider-Man, but I don't think
But
it's
there's
even
no
like
deconstruction of Spider-Man.
I don't even know.
Yeah, I mean, he could say whatever it is, but that's not a deconstruction. It's not challenging what Spider-Man is. And on top of that, too, out of all the characters, why would you want to deconstruct Spider-Man? I mean, like, it doesn't add up. Like the character is not inherently there. Like, in my opinion, you could say a character like Batman maybe has some problematic ideas in it,
Yeah.
right? Or maybe like Superman. Okay, like can we really trust someone that has all this power, right? Like that seems a little naive.
Man of
But
Spider,
with
what it's called.
but with Spider-Man, like what is inherently questionable about Spider-Man? He's someone who's a selfless person who tries to help other people, right? And he also tries to help himself. There's a balance between those two things. Like you don't need to deconstruct that at all, in my opinion. I just think that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, and you know what's a good point to that too? You know the boys, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
You know the one character that was never parodied in the boys was Spider-Man. That was the one character they never parodied, and I think that's because what is there to parody about Spider-Man? The message is actually wholesome. He's not a terrible person, right? Like it's hard to really make a parody of that.
That's true.
So that's my take on that. But yeah.
I think yeah.
that's crazy as well. First, by the way, you guys hear that scoop that apparently Secret Wars might reboot the MCU?
Yeah, that was
I
me and Aaron's theory for a while.
Yeah, I
don't
remember because we always talk because I think we've talked about this as well.
Yeah. Yeah, we even on one stream I was like, "Oh, I bet Kang is going to be like a variant or sorry, Beyonder is going to be like a variant of Kang." And then that rumor came out and we're like like see, like they just make up shit. You know what I mean? Like I really think some of these scoopers don't know what's going on.
don't know.
It's like if you know some comic knowledge, you could say a lot of stuff is going to happen in the MCU or the DCU. It's just nonsense.
So
It's gonna be very interesting.
so what about so how's the are there any other plans for like what about do with Controller Chronicles? Because I'm really liking what you guys did so far.
Oh yeah, we're I mean we're doing the podcast, we'll do lives. I mean I'm not sure how much I want to say, but I could tell you some stuff. Like we're going to do like Starfield impressions. So if you're interested in Starfield, you can look forward to that.
Yeah, I'm
Um
I'm getting the well, I might not get the game to see there's so many games that's coming out.
yeah,
So
there's a lot.
either there's Starfield, there's Mortal Kombat, there's Spider-Man. There's so much
Mhm.
stuff that's coming out at this point. I might not get the game right away, but I will probably soon. I probably so definitely this year.
Right.
I just bought a game that I'm probably gonna start playing tomorrow. I got Dragon Ball Z Kakarot
Oh,
finally
interesting.
because I'm a big Dragon Ball Z fan, but I
Right.
have not played this game and I wanted to try it out because I love Dragon Ball. So
Mhm.
tomorrow's a rainy day and I'm on my vacation time, so I know what I'm gonna be doing. In other words, more time to delay me completing Breath of the Wild. So
Yeah,
literally, that's what I feel like this is. It's like,
yeah, I'm this week I think is going to be the end of Tears of the Kingdom. I'm just preparing to be Ganondorf, get some weapons and stuff. But it's been like the whole summer. This is the only game I've been playing the whole entire summer, starting from May until the end of August. So it's been an absolute crazy. The consistency I put into this game is absolutely insane. Uh, but yeah, I really do love the game. Oh, what happened to Blue Jay? I guess something happened to his phone.
Oh, wait, hold on. Yep, he's back.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to switch from my computer. I'm switching.
All right, no problem.
I switched. Yeah. Hold on, because I don't think are you. I I did a like a funny thing, like a little thing to pass the time. I don't think you've seen this. I think RJ and Meta did because I did it from a. I did a
Where
funny.
was that?
It's on like ambassadors like Gamers Den group
Okay.
chat. I did a funny like a intro for like both you guys for Crucial Chronicles. I'm not expecting y'all to use it. I just did it for shits and giggles. Hold on.
Okay, let me. I need to see. Let me. I'm
Oh,
curious.
are you on the Gamers Den?
No, I'm not.
Oh wait, it's still there. I'm gonna pull it up for you guys. Actually, I'm gonna pull that up on Twitter.
I'm like this close to deleting Twitter.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Threads to put
Yeah,
the.
well, apparently Threads is supposed to get the desktop option later this week. Tomorrow's Thursday, so no option's been presented yet.
Give us DMs and we'll be out of this
DMs.
bitch.
Yeah, that's the thing that's holding me back. DMs.
This is just a thing for shits and giggles and stuff. So like, I just did like a cool little intro. I'm not expecting any of you guys to use this intro. I just was like this is gonna be just something I did.
Oh man. We should. Okay, I need to tell them we need to put this in here somewhere.
Oh my god! Just for pre-recorded stuff. It's just like I added the pig just for just like funny cuts, just to like what's up everybody?
Right.
Support Cooler Chronicles.
Oh man, no, that was cool. Yeah, maybe because I know we're gonna record episode 3. Probably next week. It's gonna be about Gamescom, right? So, which that also we were. If you saw the stream, I was not happy with Gamescom.
Yeah, I heard
yesterday.
I heard it was not the greatest.
No, the expectations were set, but even then, when you don't really have much to show, 2 hours of an event, it's a little much, right? It's a little egregious in my opinion. But we did get the Cyberpunk update, which, as you know, I love Cyberpunk.
Yes, I did. I didn't see every game, but I did see Cyberpunk. So wait, I got a question. Is it a DLC or it's a new game? Because it says pre-order.
So there's 2 different things, right? So you have the DLC, which is Phantom Liberty, and so that's going to be a story DLC. But I think in early next month, what they're going to do is they're going to patch in a lot of new mechanics that basically change up the game, right? So the game is basically getting a massive overhaul that is going to be free to everybody who owns the game. So you don't need the DLC for that. So it's going to revamp the skill tree. There's going to be vehicle combat. There's going to be new weapons. I think there's going to be some side quests, things like that. But a lot of the story, romances, and like a lot of core elements that were in the game are still going to be the same. But the things that didn't work or they couldn't add are going to be put back in the game or revamped. So yeah, I'm glad they're doing that.
Yeah, See, that's just so many. At least I'm able to download the new games. I'm able to play Cyberpunk. Because the game, I completed all the side quests and stuff. I'm just like, okay, where is this Phantom Liberty? I want to play that shit.
Yeah, that comes out the end of September.
Good,
So
good.
20
So
the
I have a
26th.
date.
Yeah, because I pre-ordered it too, and I'm definitely. It's gonna be hard balancing these games, because I have film school, and then I have work, and then I have to play these games, and then we have to review them and talk about them. So
Yeah,
it's like,
When do you
oh
begin
man,
film school?
on the 5th, the
Oh,
5th.
nice.
It's the American date for school is weird. It starts like on August. Like for us, it's like what? Like it's always September for us. So, but yeah.
man. I wish we go back to September. Kids
Well,
be going to school way too
well,
freaking late.
okay. Well, the
Early.
kids go.
Oh
Well,
man.
New York City kids go back like the 7th. I go back to work on the 18th.
On the 18th. Okay, that's actually pretty
So I
nice.
get like a month off because my last day of work was the 18th of August. So I have a month off.
Right. Damn, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah. So I got like time to like play games, to watch like whatever I need to watch to catch up. I ain't watching Secret Invasion. I ain't spending my time off watching.
Yeah, not even. I've been with Disney. The only thing I really want to watch. Well, I still got to finish The Bear, and Loki season 2. That's really the only things I'm need Disney Plus for.
Currently, right now, like I am doing. Well, I am watching Ahsoka. Ahsoka is now my Disney Plus show for the moment right now. But really, the biggest show for me was My Adventure with Superman. I really love that fucking show.
Yeah,
That's what I'm gonna be doing during my time off. Finally, start watching that.
See, we're
yeah, it's a great
only
show.
see. This season has 10 episodes, so we're like two episodes left. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Two
Which is
episodes
weird, because last episode was a part 1. So
should have been a. If it was a two-parter, I think everybody would. I think it's better as like a two-parter separately. You'd be like, God damn, I have to wait another week.
right, because it ended with Superman getting kidnapped, right? So
Oh, well, George hasn't seen the show. Wait,
Oh,
did he
that's all
spoil
good.
it?
It's all
yeah.
good. It's all good.
Okay.
well, we'll see, because there's still 2 episodes, so it's like who knows what's gonna happen. I'm like, this is no, but the show is actually great. It's been a surprise watching the show. The animation's really cool. The characters are cool. Uh, this feels like something Superman needed for quite some time. Is
See,
this type of show?
that's the thing. I'm not a Superman fan. Like something about most people are Batman guys. Most people are Batman fans. Like I'm not a Superman fan. I like Man of Steel, but that's pretty much it. And then this is a show like I've heard about this show. I saw people shit on the art style. I was like, well, fuck you. Bitch.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. Yeah,
I was like, well, fuck you. It's like here's a. I've always I dig the art style, and I'm really digging the. I'm a big fan of the fan. I like this version of Lois. I'm a simp for this version of Lois.
oh man.
Oh, listen.
Oh man.
She's adorable.
I listen. I used to simp for the Lois Lane from the '90s cartoon.
She's a hottie too.
Listen, I grew up on the Superman animated series and the Justice League cartoon from the 90s and 2000s. So, I'm glad that we finally got another animated Superman, because it felt like forever. Because it's either he'll appear in someone else's animated show, like Batman the Brave and the Bold or Young Justice, but they won't give him his own thing. I haven't really watched the CW Superman and Lois, and I heard that's a good show, but I'm just not.
Yeah,
big
I haven't got into that.
I never watched a CW DC show. I just never cared.
It's like a soap opera with colorful costumes.
No.
I was never got into those shows. Just man.
But I really enjoyed watching the show. Yeah, we dealt with it. We have a little bumpy road in the middle. You remember that time period with episode 5 and
yeah.
I remember you were complaining about that.
I was but I got over it. Every
Right.
freaking body was
But you
just
know what?
talking about it.
Honestly, at least
What you
your
say?
complaints are more valid than the complaints of Snyder fans.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's more valid. Like people have their points and stuff. And Larry, I was at work. I was listening to this. What was this dude again? Mr. Robot. Some dude named Robot. He had the. I thought he okay. Like I want to listen to his perspective. He talked about like why do people hide their secret identities. I was like, okay, I want to see his perspective.
Hmm.
Uh, he had points, but then at the end it turned. I was like, oh, he's another one of those anti woke feet. Nope, I want to listen to another person. Then
Right.
Oh gosh, the anti woke people.
God, it's like,
Yo,
like
Lil, did you see Nerdrotic's thumbnail for his rant about Blue Beetle?
Yes. I actually watched that video too. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
It,
it's like,
different day.
I'm like I mean, it gets clicks. That's why he does it, man.
I know
Because
it gets
everybody
clicks.
looked at that thumbnail and they were like, "Oh man, that's crazy" and stuff. And then they retweeted and everything. Yeah, you know how some people are. I'm like, once I seen that thumbnail, I'm like, I bet it's all over Twitter, and people are like, "Oh my god, I can't believe."
yo,
Oh my god,
There's
that's crazy, man.
yo,
Yeah.
you know, there's actually one member of the Phantom Menace that Keemstar is actually aware of exists.
Wait.
The quartering, he's challenged he always challenges the quartering to fight.
Yeah.
Fight.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my.
the quartering's a disgusting human being. He's absolutely disgusting.
He is.
Yeah, the stuff he's been saying and he's been doing is just disgusting.
I mean, there's a lot of disgusting human beings on YouTube. I ain't gonna
Yeah.
mention any more of their names because we talked about another
Yeah, we
one.
talked enough.
But like, yeah, no, like honestly, like this has not been a good year for YouTubers.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
these YouTubers are out of pocket, man.
Listen, like people thought like the stuff that was happening back in like February and March was insane. Look at some of these big name YouTubers and like all the stuff that they've done. But yeah, no,
some weird stuff.
Oh, go ahead, Blue Jay.
Oh no, it's just some weird shit going on. Like I keep track of what's going on, but it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna watch Superman Lois, and yeah, Ahsoka, in my opinion, based off episode 1, I think it's off to a good start so far. It feels the thing that has gravitated to me was like it just feels like Star Wars for once.
Yeah,
And I mean, like that can be a good or bad thing because look, what made Mandalorian great the first 2 seasons was like it felt like a different kind of Star Wars.
Right.
But it's like then after a while, I see the other shows trying to replicate the formula, and it's like okay, not everything has to be like the Mandalorian.
See,
For me, well, because I mean, I'm not gonna watch Ahsoka just because I never watched Rebels and I'm not that interested in watching it.
That's where I was about to say, like,
Yeah.
Ahsoka, like I like Ahsoka so far because I'm a fan of Rebels. Rebels was one of my favorite shows of the last decade, and I kind of wanted to be animated again, mostly because as Rebels is a very expressive show. I mean, it's animated, but like it's colorful, it's bright, colorful. A lot of characters have a lot of personality going. Once you think this is a continuation, it's not. It's very. The colors are so muted sometimes when depending on what planet they're in. It's most of it's very bleak and muted, and then and it's not against the actors, but like the dialogue is very wooden, very stiff, and it's like they don't have much expression. Like I like the actress that played Sabine. I like she kind of she doesn't really embody Sabine a little bit, but I can see some of that coming out. But it's almost like this is supposed to be a quote unquote sequel to Rebels, but I just wish this was animated because you can get that expression going, that very lightheartedness going that Rebels had. I don't know. It just I'm still with this
Mm.
show. I just wish it was. I just wish it was animated because like I think
Right.
it's more better told than live action, but that's just a personal thing to me. Because
Mm.
most of these Disney Plus, some of these Star Wars shows, these Disney Plus shows, they don't have a lot of they don't really have a lot of personality. They're very
Yeah.
very serious, like so stoic.
You
Except
know,
for
it's
Mando.
funny.
Mando is a lot of fun.
I mean, I
My,
mean, I
my,
like Andor because I think Andor is a better example of the seriousness because
Yes.
you actually see stuff where it's like, oh, like when he was going to prison, like that was intense, right?
oh
But
God,
you would never see that in any other Star Wars show, right? So,
Right, but
yeah.
like I'm thinking, well, yeah, you're right. But with like,
But everything else, I agree. I agree with what you're
I'm
saying. Yeah.
mostly nervous. I'm mostly kind of nervous about like, if they like, let's go find us let's go find our boy and stuff, and let's go find Ezra, and then literally like, I'm scared that they pull like a Boba Fett situation where like all of a sudden like Mando comes out of nowhere, like what the fuck is this dude? I'm like,
Mm,
where did he come from? I'm like Boba Fett was like just it does not know what the
yeah.
hell it wants to be. Like
Yeah, a
well,
lot of
here's
these like Boba Fett I had to drop until the ending, which I did see. And then Obi-Wan, I did not finish Obi-Wan. I didn't care at all.
well, here's the thing. I have to laugh. Like my supervisor knows that I talk about movies a lot, but he notices like I rarely talk about TV. I was like, oh no, I was talking about The Last of Us, and he's like, oh yeah, that. So it's like because I'm like, yeah, because The Last of Us was a great show. It's like the thing
Right.
is, it's like to me, TV to me becomes shows become are more formulaic than movies, in my opinion. And it's
Mm,
not just superhero streaming Star Wars stuff. There's so many police shows out there, so many crime
right.
shows out there, which is no problem because look, I loved Criminal Minds. I liked a lot of CSI shows from like the late 2000s, early 2010s, but a lot of them feel the same at times.
right.
A lot of comedies feel the same at times. It's like you gotta distinguish yourself. To me,
Right.
shows to me are the easiest to be formulaic, and I think there's a reason why I enjoyed Peacemaker and The Last of Us the most out of the shows that have come out, as well as Cobra Kai, because it
Mm,
felt like even though they were based off of already existing IPs, they felt unique and different.
Yeah.
right.
It's like that. Like when I see these shows, it's like Star Wars shows started off feeling unique with the Mandalorian. Then Boba Fett, like they needed the Mandalorian stuff to save them at the end.
Mm,
Obi-Wan, while I did enjoy Obi-Wan, I feel like it could have been so much more.
right.
It's like to me the best stuff about that was like the Obi-Wan, Darth Vader, Anakin stuff. It's like when that stuff
Mm,
wasn't there though, you can care less.
right.
Andor I need to watch because I started watching it, but I got so busy with other stuff.
Yeah, Andor is definitely a slower show that has its payoffs, but it's just such a well-written show compared to everything else that it stands out, right?
In
Um,
season three of Mandalorian, like I didn't like as
yeah,
much. I didn't like I liked the first two seasons of Mandalorian. Like the first two seasons of Mandalorian, I was hooked on.
it was such a mess because the third season, like, it's about the unification of Mandalore, but it's all these other things, and I understand that's what the other seasons did, but it just feels so like you have a lot of story to tell, right? And yet it seemed like they were occupied with other things, right? It wasn't like the first season where it's like you have that one mystery and we're building up the characters and stuff like that. Or in the second season, even the second season gets a little wonky in some points, especially like the middle part. But it wraps up, right? So the third season, it's like okay, you do the Mandalore thing and what else was there? And then they also had that whole plot with the scientists, and you're like, oh, this could be interesting, but it doesn't go anywhere. it doesn't actually help the story. It's just sort of like, oh yeah, Moff Gideon's back, and they're like, did we? Why have that episode? Like it was a good episode, but it's like it has nothing to do with the rest of the season. It's not even in the same tone or the same complexity. It's such a I really don't like season 3 of Mandalorian. It's just so bad. I'm sorry. It's just like the one thing I want from Star Wars is I just want them to do something that is not Star Wars, right? Which yes, that sounds ironic, that sounds silly, but like I want a Star Wars anime or I want a Star Wars movie that's more like Japanese focused, like some Japanese director or a foreign director in terms of like Eastern culture came in and made a Star Wars movie, right? Like I want new blood because all this Star Wars stuff is starting to seem very samey to me. The characters we've known for so long, and it feels like unlike Marvel, where they're actually like, at least Marvel is like going forward. Star Wars is like going back and forth and back and forth, and they never actually just consistently go forward. And that's my problem with the whole series as a whole. It needs something new.
See, like that's like the thing. They always like I don't mind them going back and forth and stuff. Like the
Mhm.
timeline wise, it's always if you're not like with just for like for me, I like Rebels and I like Ahsoka so far. But if you don't watch everything, like if you don't watch like a
Mhm.
single, like if you don't know like a piece of lore from a comic book or whatever, and they have this in the show, you're really gonna know everything about it. Like they expect you to know everything.
Right.
Average person don't even know what that is.
No, I like I said, that's why I'm like, do am I a fan of Star Wars? I mean, I grew up primarily on the original trilogy. As a kid, I always had Return of the Jedi on repeat. So it's like I am now I question because I'm like I'm not that into the shows. I don't really care so much about Clone Wars and Dave Filoni and what he's doing. It's not interesting to me, but I can respect that other people like it, right?
Right.
But I kind of wish that they had either sections of of the series or they just come up with something new that is like, okay, we're gonna have a set of new movies, kind of like what they're doing with the Batman, right? Where it's like we're gonna have the Batman movies, and then we're gonna have the shows that sort of fill in different little worlds or characters, right? If
Right.
Star Wars, because it is very kind of similar, but unlike Marvel and the DCEU, that's focusing on one particular character and the world around him, right? It's not like all these worlds coming together, right? It's not like the Guardians world and here's Captain America's world or the gritty side of Marvel mixed with like the magic side. Like they need to get away from these big worlds and just focus on here's this new Star Wars character in the far future, right? And something is going on with them, and here's some other characters that he's meeting along, right? Like new world building. That's what
You
I want.
see,
Get away
that
from the Empire. You know what I mean? Sorry.
no, you're fine.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what Rebels did. Rebels,
Hmm.
like the first season, people are not a fan of like the first season stuff. Like it does. They say like it's very childish. They're just saying that because they're Clone Wars fans. Like it's more lighter tone
Right.
and all that. But Rebels started as like it's about five characters. You got to get to know them because they start in like a very small location. They start
Hmm.
small, but then the next season comes. They get to a larger world and the galaxy. Start like going different planets and stuff. That's and then season 2, 3, and 4 be and it starts to get bigger and bigger and bigger and things and the stakes become higher for them. That's what I like
Hmm.
about Rebels. It starts so small but gradually gets bigger. It just moves
Hmm.
and yeah, it's about the empire, but they kind of take their time with it, you know.
Right.
That's what I do like about shows that do that, where they have a bunch of characters, your main core characters, and you start them in something very small, but gradually put them in bigger situations. I never like Clone Wars. Clone Wars, I've seen a handful of Clone Wars episodes, but I never got track of it because they're so sporadic.
Yeah,
Like they're
I
so
love
out of order.
yeah, I loved Clone Wars, but there was so much happening. See, that's the thing. I grew up on like the prequel era of Star Wars. I grew up kind of similar to where I was watching a certain Star Wars movie on repeat that was Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I would watch Clone Wars every Friday night on Cartoon Network. I watched Phantom Menace, and I enjoyed Phantom Menace. Yeah, it's not a great movie, but I still enjoy watching that movie, even though it's got some ridiculous parts. Attack of the Clones, the Anakin Padme love story wasn't all that great. George Lucas cannot write a love story to save his life. Although, in fairness, compared to some of the love stories that are coming out now from some movies, I think it's actually aged a bit better.
Mm.
So, no, I mean, come on. After Twilight, after all some
Twilight. Oh, okay. I mean, you're going to
some of
compare
these
to that.
other
Okay, I see
movies
your
that have
point.
come out that have like very iffy love stories.
Right.
I mean, I think Revenge of the Sith saved that love story, in my opinion.
Yeah, and to be honest, my favorite Star Wars movie is Rogue One. I really
Mhm.
I really think so. Either it's
My
Rogue
favorite, it's
One
my
and
favorite Disney one.
It's Rogue One and Solo. That's Solo feels fun. It felt like a fun movie. And I
Mhm.
even like Rogue One. I like the tone that they had. And then I love that final battle scene, and literally everybody died.
Right, which was pretty shocking because
Right,
everybody
which
thought they weren't
I
going to
guess it
die.
kind of makes sense for that. And I was like, okay, they had the balls to do that.
Mm.
Yeah, I remember seeing Rogue One in theaters, and I was like, oh wow, this is like one of the biggest surprises because I wasn't really expecting a lot from Rogue One, but I was like, this is one of the best Star Wars movies.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, anyone like doing a $4 ticket day on Sunday?
Yeah.
Oh, is that? What is coming? It is like the $4 National Cinema Day.
Yeah,
Yes.
I remember I did it last year when tickets were $3.
Let me see. Is there
I'm
any?
going to see Gran Turismo.
I remember.
Oh, oh, dude, I saw Gran Turismo like
Oh, you
because they
saw it
did like
early?
I saw them. Okay, so remember it was supposed to come out like on August 11th, and they moved it to like 2 weeks later. So
Right.
on my theater, they show they I had it's called a sneak preview, I guess. So like it's basically I saw it on the original date. So
Right.
I actually saw it because I was originally gonna go see the Meg 2, but I was like, dude, I mean, I like the first Meg, but I don't know. I don't know about seeing that one, but I kind of want to see Gran Turismo more. Then I looked up
Mhm.
my Cinemark. I was like, oh wait, they're having a sneak preview. It's dumb that they have to do all that crazy stuff.
It was
So
like some fan promotion or something.
yeah, just
Yeah.
because of the strike and all that stuff, which was kind of ridiculous. So I actually saw the movie. I gotta dude,
Mhm.
it's really freaking good.
Okay, then I'm glad.
It's
'Cause-
really good. Like see, this is coming from somebody that likes racing movies, like true story stuff.
You know what
Mm.
racing movie I remember seeing in theaters? Speed Racer.
I love Speed Racer.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I've seen that
goodness.
too. Yes.
I remember seeing that in theaters, and I was like, this is so ridiculous yet so funny at the same time.
No, man.
I was
Even my mom was like, this is hilariously ridiculous, but yet she had a great time with it.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing it in the drive-in. But I will say this: I don't want to be too crazy when I say this, but I think it's one of my favorite movies of the summer. Gran
Oh wow.
Turismo.
Okay.
I actually,
Like in terms of how fun it is.
I like how I like the performance were good. The performance were really good. particularly like the kid that plays the actual dude. It's based on a true story, which is actually kind of cool.
Right.
David
Loosely
Harbour was
based.
great. Orlando Bloom was good. Um, the racing scenes are intense. Like
Mm.
it's almost like it reminded me of Ford v Ferrari. Like I love Ford v
Mm.
Ferrari,
Right. Yeah.
and it the racing scenes are. I like this, like the styling of the movie. Like you can at first like the first half was a little cringy a little bit because just the way it was set up, but later on, um, they did like a stylistic choice. Like I don't want to give that away, but it's like
Mm.
that like certain like PlayStation noises in the background. At first, I was like, are they really doing like a? They really did that shit? But I was like, oh no, okay, that's actually pretty cool. You see what I'm talking about when you actually see the movie to this Friday or whatever.
Right. Sunday. I'm seeing it Sunday.
So Sunday, I usually go see movies on Sundays when I'm off.
Yeah, I haven't been recently to a movie on Sunday, so but
So
I'm gonna
yeah.
see it in D box too.
Oh, D
Yeah,
box.
that's well. I saw Oppenheimer on a Sunday, but that's because I had a wedding to go to the opening Saturday.
Yeah.
Right.
Otherwise, I would have been there like that Saturday.
Now I
I,
was. Oh
I'm
no, you go.
debating about what I want to do because I'm thinking about maybe seeing. So I live by one of the Alamo Drafthouse theaters.
Oh,
I've never been
Mm.
there before, and they show older movies. So I want to see like what older movies. So an older movie that I think would be interesting to watch in theaters that I don't know if I'm going to see it because the showtime's a bit early, but maybe I haven't decided yet. Maybe I might do Vertigo from Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh,
mm,
you should do Vertigo. Yes.
I
Yes.
should I might I'm thinking of doing that because first of all, as I said earlier in the stream, I want to because not just because of the strikes, but because I want to do more variety on this channel. I want to do older movies. And the thing is, it's like I want if I have the opportunity, like I had with Jaws last year, if I can see older movies in theaters that came out before I was born, I don't care if I've seen them on streaming or TV before. To have the experience would be interesting.
Mm.
nice.
Because I've been like debating like do I want to like start doing some like older stuff in theaters like if I have the money.
Yeah, you definitely should because it's interesting to see. I mean, what you would say about some of these older movies in comparison to a lot of newer stuff. That's always an interesting conversation.
Because it's like the thing is, it's like a lot of people they look at. I know a lot of people like younger people are gonna be like, "Why watch older movies?" I'm like, older movies are awesome.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. Vertigo's a great movie. I love that movie.
some of my favorite movies are old movies. I remember I watched Rear Window at a movie club in middle school, and I fell in love with that movie right away. Same thing with 12 Angry Men.
Yeah, there's a lot of just great
People
movies.
don't realize like how great a lot of older movie stories are compared to the stories today.
Right.
No disrespect to movies today, because there are some great movies today, but I'm just saying that like movies back then were on a whole different level.
Yeah, things are. It's interesting. There's always trends and stuff. So, but yeah, it's interesting seeing different time periods and how they made movies.
You know. Yeah.
Because I did Jaws in IMAX last year for $3. That was an
Mm.
experience.
I don't think
That's
there are.
like and today that's still my most watched review.
Right.
I'm surprised like that like of all the movie reviews like that was the one that got over 600 views.
Hmm.
I mean I'm glad like a lot of people got to notice my channel, but still like I was surprised like that garnered a lot of attention.
Yeah, Jaws is just a great movie. That's probably why.
I mean, Jaws is one of the greatest movies of all time.
I do. I
Yeah, it's
do.
hard to.
I do want to. I want to say, yeah, I know what I think for Sunday for like I think I want to see Gran Turismo again because I was it's a really I think it's a really good movie. Out of the two PlayStation movies, better than Uncharted. I mean, it's no easy. It's not. I mean, it's easy as
I
fuck.
mean,
I mean,
that's kind of easy to do to make.
well, out of
Good.
all like the okay, we have Uncharted, we have Last of Us, Twisted Metal, and Gran Turismo. So we got four productions from PlayStation. Last of Us is better, the best. Gran Turismo second, Twisted Metal third, and Uncharted.
Twisted Metal wasn't that bad too. I actually like that show.
I like Twisted Metal was really fun. It was really fun.
Yeah, that was
I
super.
even like Uncharted. Like I mean it's just fun really. But like Gran
Uncharted was the one I couldn't get into. I love the Uncharted games, so that's probably why. But I don't mind seeing a sequel though.
I hope, man. I'm hoping that they kind of do it better, but that's just a wait and see thing.
Yeah, you guys ever get
Yeah.
like this, like the most random song stuck in your head?
Yeah,
Cause like I got like Golden Hour stuck in my head, and it was because a lot of kids at work were obsessed with it. So now it's like stuck in my head.
oh man,
Yeah, a lot of songs from camp are stuck in my head. Like you guys know that video, the duck song?
Oh my god.
the duck song. Wait, the YouTube video
Guy
Yeah.
in grapes?
with the grapes. Yeah,
Mine?
yes,
Yes. I showed that to the kids one day, and they became so obsessed with it.
You know what's funny?
Yo, the older kids were having a sing along to it. I'm like, fourth and fifth grade are having a sing along to this. I'm like, oh wow.
man.
Yeah,
That's
one of
crazy that the kids nowadays like that. I watched that when I was a kid. That
No,
was like
we
how
had
many years
one of
ago?
my friends were
kids were
singing
singing
that.
that for the talent show.
One
Oh
of my
man,
friends were singing that. Like it was literally last week. I was working, and one of my friends was just silently singing like "Guy bum 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 Guy grapes," and like you are not singing that song in 2023.
Oh man, I remember I discovered that song. It was like in eighth grade. It was like 2 years after it originally came out, because one of our teachers was showing us it.
oh wow.
God, that's
Bum bum. The duck went. I was like, oh my goodness. Yo, then like the person made a live action version of it.
oh no.
The CGI duck actually looks good though.
CGI.
CGI duck.
CGI duck. The CGI duck looks better than some of the CGI from the Flash.
Oh man.
And then the CGI from Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumanium.
Yeah, that's just. Oh, man.
And I ain't just throwing shade. I'm like literally, it's the truth.
Wild.
The duck went to the lemonade stand.
Okay, I don't want to hear it.
Oh wait, hold on, Ferris. Any songs that get stuck in your head during MTV days of the late '90s and early 2000s? Any old songs? I'm trying to think.
Return of the Mac.
I know one song that some of us like to sing at work. It's like "I Want It That Way."
Mm.
Oh my god.
Oh, the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, Backstreet Boys. Yeah, like I remember
I was about to say Blackstreet.
Backstreet Boys.
God.
The Backstreet Boys were the thing back in the day.
Yeah, that's been a while now.
Trying to think like what other, because like after work we did a silent disco the second to last day with the kids where we got these headphones and you can listen to 3 different channels of music. So then at work we were doing it at the after party of work. So like on one station we got rap going on with like hard words being used. The other one we've got like Glee music or like music from like from the 2010s going on. And then the other one's just like a mix of anything. Then the Backstreet Boys start playing on there. Obviously the kids aren't listening to rap. This was the adults that are listening to it, but Oh my
Kids
goodness.
nowadays.
Oh, if the kid, if the kids played rap and then they said something about it. Oh, how about movie soundtracks that got stuck in your head from the 90s and early 2000s?
The movie sound. I don't,
Oh, Lion King.
well, the
Oh
closest
yeah,
thing.
like,
Any Disney Renaissance movie.
Oh, the closest I could say is the Rugrats movie soundtrack that I used to
Oh
listen
my
to.
gosh.
yeah,
Um,
man. But
I mean, obviously,
I
if
might
I'm
have to tune out, guys.
okay,
Sorry
thanks.
to interrupt.
Oh, thanks for tuning in, blind. Because yeah, I'm gonna start winding it down. Do you want to promote your the new gaming channel?
Oh yeah, so you can find hold on. It's on YouTube. It's at Controller Chronicle 64.
Controller
No,
Chronicle.
Are
yeah,
you doing any gaming
Controller.
content like playing games on Controller Chronicles or just a podcast?
Um, well, I think a lot of it is gonna be like discussion based and stuff.
Okay.
So, I mean, we'll see. We're kind of experimenting and seeing where it goes.
Okay.
But, um,
I do
yeah,
like
well, I
Chrome
guess
games.
I'll ask Meta and RJ if we'll like do requests for things if people are interested.
All right, I
Okay.
found it. I'll put the
Yeah.
link in the thing. So yeah,
All right, thanks.
check out Blinded, Meta, and RJ on Controller Chronicles. And Blinded, thanks for tuning in. And
Yeah,
for
no
coming
problem.
on because like I was going on an hour talking a lot, so you came on. So thank you for stopping by.
Yeah, it was a great conversation. It was
Yeah.
I
very
mean,
interesting.
obviously, we started it off with obviously the Fuzi Tube saga.
Yeah, you know me. We
got
love talking about
whole
God.
talk of like movies and stuff.
Right, yeah. There's a whole cast of things to talk about, but yeah.
Well, it wasn't
Uh,
anything on your mind stream, so
yes, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
gonna dip
Thank
out
you for
too.
stopping by.
Yeah, no problem. Peace, guys.
Peace.
Yep, I'm gonna dip out too. So
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna. So yeah, I'm gonna end it because we're almost at the 3 hour mark. So anything coming up on your channel, Blue Jay? I know.
um, not really. I mean, oh well, yeah, I do have a September 3rd. I'm doing a tier list for the summer movies of 2023 this year. It's been a very packed summer. May through August, and like movies just nonstop. So that's the closest where I have going on, and I am planning to do pre-recorded content. So that's just that's just my thought. So that's it. Really, I'm just more like just shoot the shit.
But So, anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Blinded, and thank you, Blue Jay, for tuning in. So we
No
talked about a
problem.
variety of topics from stuff like Ahsoka, a little bit of NBA at the beginning, Fuzi Tube, Spider-Man Lotus, um, favorite songs and all that. As for the George, I do want to do a surprise video game review this week because I want to get into more content. And the hint is it's a video game franchise that I love, and it's been celebrated this week on a certain site dedicated to this video game series. So I'll be reviewing that game later this week, and I plan on reviewing other stuff on this channel and talking about other stuff on this channel. So please subscribe if you haven't already. Please share us with someone that likes movie talk and a variety of other topics, which we did this stream. And I hope to see you guys real soon. Take care, everyone.
You have a good one.
And broadcast.